runs out. You mentioned it being dirty there, and you know you're going to wreck for a long time, as we see Taylor had to check up just a little bit, then,
but I think part what Taylor's trying to do there is not be that hard. No, he's trying to crowd back down. He doesn't want to be up there. You have Carson Quampa who's trying to fill that gap but has nowhere else to go. He's 3 wide, and so you end up with 3 cars in the spot for 2. State water heaters on board camera, riding with Jim. Oh, Jim.
Kind of think there was maybe a little contact there with Sawalich. Saw him get spun around as we riding on board. Taylor Gray, you see him trying to catch it inside of the car.
Did a pretty good job. I don't know, hanging on to it.
He came out the best of all these guys involved in the wreck. I don't think there was any contact with the 54.
Didn't make it off turn 2. Lap 1. And already under caution at Texas. Allgaier gets the early advantage. Others doing damage repair. Just out of the gates in round 12.
All right, so just getting out of the gates here in the 12th race of the season, as just mentioned moments ago by Adam Alexander. If you're wondering where you can listen and watch this race live, or visually at least, CW, as usual, the CW, your local affiliate for all O'Reilly Auto Parts Series races all season long. We're also live right here on KRC for all of the O'Reilly Cup and Truck Series action throughout the course of the season. Justin Allgaier leads in the early going of today's race, starting on the pole position. And as we got started there, a caution on lap number 1. We actually had a caution on the opening lap of last week's race at Talladega, middle of the back straightaway. And here this week, caution on the opening lap as well. Now we went caution on lap 1 and a caution on the final lap of the Talladega race, and that was it for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series minus the 2 stage breaks. So maybe we go caution free the rest of the way until lap 200. We'll have to wait and see. Title sponsor for the race is the Andes Frozen Custard 300, but on Hulu it says the Andes Frozen Custard 340. And I don't know if that's like a CW typo. And it says that for everybody that might be watching the race visually, wherever you're watching it on the CW, or if it's just a Hulu technical glitch. But it is a 300-mile race, not 340. I had to do a double take when I saw that. I was like, wait a minute, is this race longer than 200 laps like I originally thought? All right. I do have the chat poll open. I just opened that up during the caution period for who you think is going to win today's race. Got Kyle Larson, Justin Allgaier, Jesse Love, or somebody other than those 3 as the possible voting options. We'll go through the full field running order here in the early laps since we didn't have enough time to get through the starting lineup for today's race. So right now you got Justin Allgaier in position number 1. Kyle Larson's in 2nd. Brandon Jones 3rd. Brent Cruz in 4th. Connor Zilic in 5th. 6th place is Austin Hill. Sheldon Creed 7th. Jeremy Clements 8th. Raja Caruth 9th. And Sam Mayer rounds out the top 10. Parker Retzlaff in 11th, Sammy Smith in 12th, Carson Quapple 13th, Austin Green 14th, and 15th is Anthony Alfredo. 16th for Jesse Love, Austin Dillon in 17th, Dean Thompson 18th, Kyle Sieg 19th, and Harrison Burton 20th. Josh Williams 21st, Brendan Poole 22nd, Patrick Starpoli 23rd, Blaine Perkins 24th, Mason Maggio 25th, 26th Garrett Smithley, Brad Perez 27th, Joey Gase 28th, Ryan Ellis 29th and 30th, Josh Balicki 31st, David Starr, LeVar Scott 32nd, Ryan Sieg 33rd, Taylor Gray 34th, William Sawalich 35th, Jeb Burton 36th, 37th Corey Day, and Dawson Cram 38th. Both received damage from the opening lap incident.
Racing the crash laps.
Yeah, and the cars with the how hard the right front hits. That slap into the wall. Most likely bent the upper A-frame. You see the right front smoking all as the body pushed in, but it'd be a long day for the 17. A lot of damage. Sawalich, I think, Sawalich survived that. The 54, I don't think had any contact with anyone. Ththese guys did a nice job getting slowed down. You mentioned Parker Retzlaff having flashbacks at Kansas when Byron and Plumble got together. The hearts hurt. Please stay there. Please stay there.
The Fentanyl Free America onboard camera, and he was having visions, I'm sure, of what happened a couple of weeks ago in Kansas when that early crash happened right in his lap.
It's interesting to look at those tethers working, holding that deck lid on.
Yep.
We've seen those be incorporated. A great job there.
What's going on, Kim?
Yeah, let's get an update on the 54. He did say the car feels okay, but Taylor upset after that incident, specifically with other drivers. Let's get the Starkey in-car communication from the 54. Take a listen.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like really, I went really hard on it, and then just like great.
Because guess what?
It was, yeah, I think they were both at fault there in some respects. And here's my point: is that Taylor ended up higher than he wanted to be. Exactly what didn't want to be in the situation Corey Day was. He was trying to squeeze back down and not even giving a full groove there. He was trying to get back down the track. Larson was already there, so of course he drove left.
What lap are we on?
Yeah, it was early. Okay.
All right, lap 7 restart here. Green flag back in the air. Great launch for Justin Allgaier. Not so much for Kyle Larson on the outside of road number 1. Headed down into turn 1. Side by side for second as Brandon Jones slips to the inside of the 88. Off the exit of turn 2. Larson not able to hold on strong on the high side. 3 wide for third place now up out of the corner. Jones clear for the second spot. And still 3 wide into turns 3 and 4 where things are going to get a little tight. Sideways is the Mobile 1 Toyota of Brett Cruz in the number 19, but he wheels it off turn 4, keeping it in the forward direction. First at-lap speed. First green flag lap of the race completed. And in turns 1 and 2, we got another spinner. Austin Green in the 87 is around off turn 2, and I believe the 91 collected with him. Treacherous area of the racetrack. Exit of turn 2 has bit 2 drivers in the first 2 full green flag laps of the race. Caution is out again at lap 8. Mason Maggio and Austin Green.
We're getting the message. Certain right here, which is do not go to the top right now. It is not there.
But you see, is there going to be a little bit of contact right here with Josh Williams?
Yeah,
Yes, there
Josh
was.
went up the track.
Yeah, Josh went up, but it didn't look like there was contact, but it doesn't take much at all in order to push you all the way around. We heard Taylor Gray kind of reference, like, look, I'm already on edge. Get a better view here. It's a little too late to see exactly how much contact there was between those two.
Mason just caught him.
Wow, that's unfortunate.
We got it.
Oh boy.
Oh no. I mean, the pace car's got to take evasive action.
What is the start of this race?
Wow, that's a first.
Well, yeah, there's a first for everything.
We need some Starkey radio from the pace car.
What?
I believe he'll be having a call to the hauler in the spotter later today. Let's go 87 team radio. The slide began with Austin Green.
Well, so they definitely feel like there was some contact there. It was really hard for us to tell with the angles, but I will say typically spotters will take your side in all of those instances, whether they're 100% sure or not, but it seems like the 92, I got into him just a little bit.
We had 3 cautions in stage 1 last year. Already 2 today, and we're not even 10 laps in. So many things happening in the first portion of the race here in Texas for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series.
2 spins up out of turn 2 in the first couple of green flag laps of the race. We've only completed 1 green flag lap out of the first 10 with the 2 separate incidents that we have seen 13 minutes into this race. Justin Allgaier is out in front with Brandon Jones in second, Connor Zilic third. Kyle Larson, who restarted on the outside of row 1 in second, is now back to fourth, and rookie Brent Cruz rounds out the top 5 in the 5th place position. We're going to take an early break here. You're listening live on KRC. Andy's Frozen Custard 300 is live on the channel. Shout out to those of you watching today's stream. We got Regine Huddleston, Bam Hall, Rima, Billy Kramer, Ethan Chua, Dean Tate. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Chris Davis, welcome to the stream as well. I saw the comment, Dean, there you are, YouTube has been hiding your channel, at least for me. Yeah, I noticed that last night in the truck race, specifically. Last night in the truck series race, there was like 30 people concurrently watching for like the first 2/3 of that race last night, which is way down from like every live commentary stream we have. And then right now we have like 37. Roughly 10 laps into the race. So I appreciate you all tuning in. That is not a knock on you guys by any means. It's just like YouTube. I don't think for some reason YouTube is putting out the content. I almost wonder if there's like a glitch with people that have the bell notification hit and it's not alerting them. That's my guess. Because this is at random, because this didn't happen last week at Talladega. Last week at Talladega, we actually had, we went up in viewership last week over the couple weeks before that. So, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. It's kind of strange. But like I said, appreciate each and every one of you that are here today for our second straight day of live commentary streaming from Texas Motor Speedway. Pete Creamer, welcome to the stream. All right. Yeah, 2 cautions before lap 10. I'm scared we get a restart. We're going to have another treacherous moment in turns 1 and 2. Turns 1 and 2 here at Texas, treacherous. We saw it in the truck race last night. Restarts, things getting crazy and wild. And what a race last night, by the way. That was fantastic action to watch all throughout that 250-mile event. Extra 50 miles today, another 100 on top of today's race tomorrow. And it's supposed to be much warmer temperatures tomorrow than what we had for both yesterday and today's action on track. Highs in the mid-80s. Sun shining Texas Motor Speedway, Dallas-Fort Worth area. They'll be going green this time by. Hopefully we get longer than 1 green flag lap in this time. It'll be lap 12 on the restart as well. Yeah, we had a crash in the first 2 laps in 3 straight races. The flip from Carson Kvapil at Kansas. Corey Day today, and last week at Talladega, Patrick Starpoli and a few others tangle on the back straightaway. As the pace car pulls for pit road, it'll be Justin Allgaier and Carson Kvapil, Connor Zilic, in the one this week. On the front row, green flag back in the air, and Kvapil does not launch well on the outside of row 1, just like Kyle Larson struggling, and that holds everybody else in the outside lane up behind them as well. Allgaier is clear by several car lengths through the middle of 1 and 2. Brandon Jones from the inside of row 2 slides to second again. Larson tried to take the 3rd spot away from Zilic. Zilic and Larson, 2 Cup regulars, have both won O'Reilly Series races this season, 1 apiece. Going for their 2nd here today. This is Larson's 4th O'Reilly Series race of the season. His lone win came on 1.5 miles at Las Vegas. Led the most laps at Kansas and won the first 2 stages of that race before falling late due to a caution forcing overtime and pitting, being stuck back at traffic. for both the Kansas and the Bristol races, kind of taking him out of a shot to win. Because he dominated in laps led in both of those. And oddly enough, the race that he didn't dominate in laps in at Las Vegas was the one he won. Things are still tight and testy as people battle for position in the middle of the pack. Their turns 3 and 4 that last time by. Carson Kvapil was trying to go up the middle 3 wide. Hole closed on him. There was a little bit of contact with the car that was on the bottom lane of the racetrack where Kvapil was in the more middle line. And looked like there could have been another near incident. Justin Allgaier setting the fastest lap of the race at last time by at lap 14. Not going to see a lot of tire fall off here this weekend. So less than a second of fall off in a full run in the truck race last night. Probably going to see that in O'Reilly and Cup action as well this weekend. So maybe a lot of 2-tire strategy calls if we do get certain cautions in this one. Depending on how, obviously, strategy could lay itself out later in the race at stage 3. Because track position is going to matter more than anything else. Texas was very wild across all 3 races last season from what I remember. And so far this season, between the truck race last night and the O'Reilly Series having 2 yellows in the first 10 laps here today, I could see it as well. We've gone 3 green flag laps into this run, so it is technically our longest green flag run of the afternoon. Still in the first half of stage 1 with a very slow pace to start things off. Allgaier's pulling away already, though. A 1.4 second lead over Brandon Jones. And Kyle Larson roughly 2.3 seconds out of the lead in third. Lap 18, and we got another crash, and a hard one at that, off of turn 4, slamming head-on into the outside walls, the 42. Few others sliding through the grass. After the fact, Austin Green involved in another incident, back-to-back yellows that he has been caught up in, and his car's got a lot more damage this time. My goodness. Brad Perez in the 42 hit extremely hard against the outside wall. He had already sustained a ton of front bumper / nose damage to his race car before sliding head-on into the wall for a second big hit. And I almost wonder if maybe the splitter got torn off in the grass like we saw in the truck series a couple times last night before he slid back up the track. And I would almost imagine that is the same damage that just happened to the 87 of Green also.
10 degrees hotter. Yeah, 73 degrees outside today. And with the sun being on the track, that probably plays his...
Wow.
Yeah, so here's Brad up top of the screen. You see he's just right there. Then comes down to Austin Green. This is right here, this quad oval, that angle. Really vicious hit. I should see the back of that car come off the ground. It's such a shame for Brad, who gets such limited starts, working so hard to get these opportunities to be in these race cars. Does a great job on social media, works multiple jobs, puts it all together. To have this happen, you don't hear about Brad Perez wrecking race cars. Jeff is so lucky. Dylan referenced it in the start of the show. You cannot go through the grass. We saw last night in the truck series how many guys got the entire front of their car ripped off. Watch Austin Green right there. You see that catch. It's part of having natural grass on the infield of these tracks. Cars, the splitters are just right on the ground. I kind of compare it to like a fishing lure, a deep diving one. When it catches the grass, it bites.
Look at all that debris that just gets thrown out on the racetrack. Go back to last night, you referenced the truck race. That area of the track even wetter last night because of the rain yesterday. Brandon Finger just dug in.
That's like
nothing you can do.
It's like hitting a wall. When it's almost like getting hit and not seeing it coming. If you think you're just gonna glide through the grass, and when it bites, it's like hitting a wall. And Justin Haley had it happen to him last night as well. There was a photo of him at 5 feet in the air. It's just insane.
They went to the local sod farm.
Well, that's a brown sod.
Race cars, and we have repaired the grass here on the infield as well. Let's get 42 Team Radio, Brad Perez and his group.
I'm fine. Man, damn it. Sorry, guys. I don't know. It's math, man. I don't know. Well, it's happened to about 5 of you today, Brad, so don't feel bad. It's just track and fast. And you said treacherous. We heard the guys yesterday say sketchy.
Yeah.
And that's why. It will reach up, and it's
Did a lot of them. There you see the 17 car idle in the garage. Let's hear from driver 17 down to Dillon.
Yeah, the garage area, unfortunately, to start this race has been a busy place already. Corey Day is out of the infield care center. How easy is it to just overstep and ultimately end your day like so many guys have done already?
Yeah, I mean, you're just so on edge at this place, and I think it's, you know, a couple guys just got done all qualifying around the bottom, so you start on the outside, you got to run up there the first corner, and I don't know if I didn't feel like I was much faster through the corner than the guys in front of me, but yeah, I was, you know, all good, and then all of a sudden I'm sideways, and there's just no saving it coming off at two like that. So yeah, I just hated for my 17 guys. We had such a good car yesterday, and for me to go ruin it like that on lap one of the races, I just feel terrible. So thank you to EngineCars.com and Mr. H and everyone at Engine Motorsports. Yeah, go see if I can have a better idea of what I did wrong there to not ever do that again.
Thanks for your time. Bummer way to end it for sure for Corey Day in 17.
Highs and lows of motor racing. You're going to have a lot of those, but I would tell Corey Day, don't beat yourself up too much, because we could make a highlight reel hours long of the people that have done exactly what he has done on the exit of turn two. It's a tough corner, and until it bites you once, you really just don't know what to expect.
A lot of time under caution today. Justin Allgaier has led the first 20 laps, and this move was key to get number 7 ahead of the curve, take the top spot, and he has been in control. 8 laps here in Texas in the last 4 races.
Get ahead of your curve. Explore Peyronie's disease treatments at get74pd.com.
3 cautions and 18 laps here today at Texas Motor Speedway. We are circuiting lap 21 of 200 right now under the yellow flag. And Justin Allgaier's led every lap so far in this race from the pole. We've only completed 4 green flag laps to this point. We had a 3-lap green flag run before this last caution and a 1-lap green flag run in between cautions 1 and 2. First yellow was on the opening lap of the race in turn 2. Turn 2, the point in which we had seen the first 2 accidents, this one took place off the exit of turn 4 this time around. Fast, slick racetrack. Lou Man, thanks for tuning in. It was a big hit for Brad Smith, that's for sure. Luckily, I do believe he is okay. By way of the radio communications, just more befuddled at how the car had slipped out from underneath of him. I mean, there was a fine line of getting up a little bit too high at Texas in the truck race that bit several drivers last night. And most of these spins that we've seen so far today, it has taken place in that middle to upper groove of the racetrack, both turn 2 and now in turn 4. Even Smith was up on the high side off turn 4 when he had broke loose and slid down the racetrack into oncoming traffic. Wonder when we're going to get some green flag racing in this one. We're already halfway through stage 1 and we've only had 4 green flag laps. It's insane. It's going to make for a long race. This could turn into the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series longest race of the season. By way of time, 12th race of the year. Last week's race at Talladega was done in less than 2 hours to get all 300 miles with just the 2 cautions, one on the final lap and one on the first lap. We've already seen more cautions for incident in the first 18 laps of today's race than what we did at Talladega last week. Crazy. Especially when you consider the tracks, 1.5 miles at Texas. By way of description, it's a treacherous 1.5 miles as we have seen so far this weekend. But 2 red flags, by the way, in the truck race last night in the final 10 laps because of crashes off of turn 4 on through the front stretch. No red flag here, but a lengthy cleanup for caution, that is for sure.
It's been a dicey start to the race for the field. So what does one of the best at Texas think? Here's Starkey in-car communication from Justin Allgaier.
I think like the first year we came here, Molly.
Chief Andrew Overseat Street saying to his driver, might be the middle of stage 2 before that top lane gets going. And Justin said, no. At this point, it might be the middle of the final stage before we can use that top lane.
Interesting to see. Larson takes the outside right here. But, the one thing about you heard Justin referencing there in the spotter and the crew she's all talking about is it's only 10 degrees hotter today, but because of the overcast yesterday, they said it's not like 50 degrees track temp, which is massive difference. The balance of these cars is a lot different.
Yeah, I look at that. I thought I didn't know if my eyes deceived me or not, but I feel like Larson's also crowding down.
100%. He's crowding down, and then Allgaier's like, no. I want you up there where it's a little bit treacherous.
And these two, they have been a history on restarts in terms of Larson having a ton of respect for Allgaier's restart ability, but thinking he's one of the best, but they like playing these games against each other. But Jones gives up the front row because he wants to be on the inside lane, puts Larson out there, and they're still stuck. If they are NASCAR, he literally trying to force a battle. But this is such a bizarre deal. What are you doing? I don't see it. Field is set for the Echo Park restart.
I'd shove him up the racetrack. I'm not even in the car, the number 7, but I would be like, no, you're not doing that. I would like push him up the track. Get off of me. Green flag back in the air here. Justin Allgaier leads. Last thing you want to do is have like contact under caution, and then you have a flat tire or something. Like, I mean, you gotta give more space than that. He was below the pace car, and he was supposed to be the outside lane car. That's how low Kyle Larson was running on the door of the 7 of Justin Allgaier. Didn't really work out for Larson. He didn't get a great launch in the restart zone anyway. He falls back to the 3rd place position. And it looks like it'll be Connor Zilisch moving back into P2 for the short time being, while Justin Allgaier leads again. Inside line is just far better today, it seems like, in the launch in the daytime than what it was last night in the night. Because last night in the night, we had seen a couple of side-by-side restarts through turns 1 and 2, but much, much cooler track temps. Wonder if that's going to transition into tomorrow's Cup race as well when it comes to restarts. And the inside lane will be that much more preferred. Final week of the Dash for Cash for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and this week our Dash for Cash competitors are Sheldon Creed, Brent Cruz, Sam Mayer, and Sammy Smith. They were the top 4 finishers of the O'Reilly Series regulars last weekend. Not Sam Mayer, excuse me. They were highlighting Sam Mayer on the screen down below. Corey Day was the winner at Talladega last week, so Corey Day would have been the other Dash for Cash competitor. Day is out of the race after the lap 1 crash, so Dash for Cash is down to 3 drivers now: Sheldon Creed, Brent Cruz, and Sammy Smith. $100,000 bonus to the top finisher of those remaining 3 drivers in the Dash for Cash bonus. Justin Allgaier slipping away from the field again here. A 1.4-second lead built up between himself and Connor Zilisch in the short run to begin things in the back half of stage number 1. Kyle Larson, 3.1 seconds off the lead in 3rd. 3.8 back for Brandon Jones at 4th. The Brent Cruz, 3.9 seconds off the lead in 5th. 6th place is Sheldon Creed at 4.2 seconds back. 4.5 seconds off the lead for Sam Mayer in 7th. Austin Hill at 8th is 5.3 back. 5.6 seconds back for Jeremy Clements at 9th. And Jesse Love in 10th place, 5.8 seconds out of the lead as well. So that is the top 10 in the running order and the intervals between themselves and the race leader. Got just over 50 concurrent viewers watching. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Our like goal will be to get to 50 likes for today's live commentary stream of the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race at Texas. We're up to 30 now. Very quickly, so thank you for that. Only 30 laps into the race, too, so got as many likes on the stream already as laps completed. Allgaier's fastest lap was still lap 14. Connor Zilic off this last restart in second place, put his fastest lap of the race down at lap 26. Allgaier's fastest lap of 29.925. Which is crazy because we just got done with Cup Series qualifying about an hour and a half ago, and the pole time for that race was a 28.2. Fastest lap in the early going of the O'Reilly race today at 29.9. 1.7 seconds off the pace are these cars in race trim versus the Cup cars in a qualifying trim. Track position hard to come by. It's going to be interesting to see what Justin Allgaier and that 17 can do here. Not running that many green flag laps in this stage. I would not be shocked if we see some teams try a right side tire only strategy to try to get track position to leapfrog those that take 4 during the stage 1 break. Because we're already down to 12 laps to go in stage 1 with where we're at currently. Biggest movers of the race so far, Ryan Sieg up 17 positions. LeVar Scott up 11, 10 for Kyle Sieg. Harrison Burton up 10, as well as Ryan Ellis, and Jesse Love up 9 positions from 19th to 10th. Not bad. It's a pretty quick move for a lot of those drivers with just about 10 green flag laps in this race. It's a very, very difficult track to make passes on as well. So for those that are starting deep in the field, not only today, but in the Cup race tomorrow, they're going to have their work cut out for them. Some heavier hitters starting deep. Ryan Blaney starts 31st after a poor qualifying effort earlier today. Laps led in this race, and obviously all the other O'Reilly races combined. Justin Allgaier has now led for over 600 laps at Texas all-time in this series, which is the third most of any driver. He's trying to work himself up on the all-time wins list for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series as well. We'll take a look at that all-time wins list since Justin Allgaier leads. And we actually looked at this after Justin Allgaier's all-time O'Reilly Series wins list. We actually looked at this after Justin Allgaier's last race win because I was very curious to see exactly how far up the leaderboard he is. So now with this being updated post that race, 31 career wins for Justin Allgaier in this series. His last came at Martinsville, which would have been his third of the season to this point. Kyle Busch, 102, far and away the most all-time in series. But right now, Justin Allgaier is 6th all-time. He would need 7 more wins to tie Carl Edwards for 5th, 8 more wins to tie Brad Keselowski for 4th. All-time in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Going to be tough for him to catch Kevin Harvick at 47, but I think Keselowski and Edwards, depending on how many more years Justin Allgaier races, is reachable. And obviously, how long can Justin Allgaier be winning races in this series? Because right now, he doesn't look like he's got any signs of slowing down. Finally got his first career championship 2 years ago. He is far and away the championship favorite this season. As we look at the point standings now, after looking at the all-time wins list, Justin Allgaier has just a ginormous points lead, to say the least. He's got about as big of a points lead in the O'Reilly Series as what Tyler Reddick does in Cup, but it's been a far more consistent season for Allgaier because it's not just wins. Well, Reddick has 5 wins on the series to have his gigantic points lead. Justin Allgaier has 3, which is still pretty solid. He's finished in the top 10 in 9 of the 11 races so far. He's finished top 5 in 8 of 11 races this season. He's only led for 211 laps, believe it or not. He has not led the most laps in the series, despite the fact that he has all these points, but he does have 161 stage points this season. He actually won a stage at Talladega last week as well, to boot. That was the first stage in which he did not score any stage points in, was stage 1 at Talladega, only to turn around and win stage 2 anyway. But 161 stage points to Sheldon Creed, who's second in points, having 93. Next closest driver in the stage point department this season is his teammate Carson Kvapil with 97. So it's just insane that Justin Allgaier has 64 more stage points than the next closest driver, That is why he's got as big of a lead as he has right now. It's 105 between Allgaier and Sheldon Creed at the top of the point standings. Jesse Love comes in third. Corey Day, after a win last week at Talladega, is up to fourth in points. Problem for Corey Day is that he's out of the race early today, so he's going to fall back a bit. He does have about 46 points between he and Brandon Jones in fifth. And just behind Jones by 1 point is Sammy Smith in sixth. Carson Kvapil seventh in points. Austin Hill eighth. Taylor Gray ninth. Parker Retzlaff rounds out the top 10. 11th is William Sawalch, and the final chase spot as of right now is Raja Karut. He's got a 14-point cushion over Ryan Sieg. Sieg, the first driver out. Sam Mayer, tough season so far, is also out. He is 27 to the negative. Brent Cruz, after missing 4 races this season, is up to 15th in points. He is eligible to make the chase despite not running every single race. He does have a waiver. That is just because he wasn't quite 18 years of age at the start of the season, so he couldn't run every single type of racetrack. Couldn't run Daytona or Atlanta at the very start, and I think Las Vegas, and there was another race in there of the bigger intermediates that he was unable to race by the NASCAR rulebook. But 15th in points, Brent Cruz, he's definitely clicking away some great finishes so far, so we might see him in the chase regardless. Last of those drivers kind of in the bubble, Brennan Poole comes in 16th in points. Pretty solid season for him in Alpha Prime Racing thus far. So that's a highlight on the point standings. We'll go back to the leaderboard now as we're coming up on 3 laps to go in Stage 1. Justin Allgaier still out ahead by 3.3 seconds over Connor Zilic. In second place, Kyle Larson still third at 5 seconds out of the lead. 6.2 seconds back for Brandon Jones at fourth, and 6.6 seconds out of the lead, Brent Cruz in fifth. Allgaier's led every lap so far in this race from pole position. Ben Rhodes led every lap of Stage 1 from the pole en route to the Stage 1 win. Allgaier trying to do the same here today. Carson Hocevar on the pole for the Cup race tomorrow, and I wonder if he's going to be able to do just that in the Cup race also. The only difference is the Cup race will have long enough stage lengths that they will have to pit, versus with how short the stages are in both O'Reilly and Truck Series racing, especially when you see as many cautions as we have in the O'Reilly race today. Very hard to not qualify towards the front and have a shot to win this first stage. 45-lap Stage 1 here and a 40-lap Stage 1 for the truck race last night. All right, coming up, final lap now in the opening frame of today's race. Allgaier crosses the start-finish line, still about a 3.5-second lead. Junior Motorsports 1, 2, 3 at the front of the leaderboard. Red Cruz leads the dash for cash in the 5th place position. Sheldon Creed in 6th and Sammy Smith in 21st. Are the 3 competitors left. Again, Corey Day going to end up with a 37th place finish today after his crash on lap 1. 4 cars out of the race so far. A few others were also involved in incidences. 3 cautions in the first 18 laps. We went green right about halfway through the end of the first stage, and we were able to go green for about the final 20-plus laps. 4th caution now will be the stage caution at lap 45. Justin Allgaier, your Stage 1 winner. Connor Zilic 2nd. Kyle Larson 3rd. Brandon Jones in 4th. Brent Cruz 5th. Sheldon Creed is 6th. 7th is Sam Mayer. Austin Hill 8th. Jeremy Clements 9th. And Parker Retzlaff rounds out the top 10. "42 minutes to complete 45 laps at Texas. Lap times that are right around 30 seconds a lap. Stage took about twice as long as it should have. 4 cautions already in the race. Even if we count both stage cautions, we've had more yellows already today at Texas than we did all of Talladega in 300 miles last week. More for incident in the first 18 laps than what we did in all of last week's race at Talladega. Sid Lane here, thanks for tuning in. Connor needs a win. Well, he did win once already this season in O'Reilly action, so I wouldn't say that he needs a win. It was definitely good for his confidence a couple weeks ago when he was able to win at Bristol. Ran top 3 all of that race, and here he is running second to Allgaier all day today, too. struggling in his rookie season in the Cup Series right now. Trackhouse as a whole has been struggling in the Cup Series, not helping the rookie out much there on that side of things. All right. So stage 1 break, our chat poll will remain open until the end of stage 2, where you can vote for who you think is going to win. 38 votes so far. And right now, somebody other than Kyle Larson, Justin Allgaier, or Jesse Love leads the poll. Only 3% taking Love, but a pretty even split amongst those other three. 34% for other, 32% for both Kyle Larson and Justin Allgaier. Should be seeing our first pit stops of the day when they do come back from commercial. Higher field should be coming in. All those cautions, I don't think anybody was off the lead. No, there were a couple cars that fell lap down. Josh Bilicki in 29th will get the free pass. So we had a few cars fall off the lead lap, and then others who are a lap down, like Mason Maggio, Jeb Burton, have some damage from the early incidences. Had to make some extra repairs. That costed them some time on pit road compared to those that were able to stay on the racetrack. If you're just tuning in for the first time, first stage complete. 3 cautions for incident, including 3 in the first 18 laps. Justin Allgaier from the pole led every lap of stage 1. Went on to win the opening stage. Still leads now as we're about to have pit stops for the first time. It is 340.
It's not about his abilities. It just so much goes into the choreography of these pit stops. Jason said, look, I have all the trust in Corey and just working as a team, especially for the first stop of the day.
You know, we talk so much about the importance of pit road every week. It's so big in Texas because of the role the track position plays here. You want to be in control. So got to execute here. Progressive pit road is open. Pit stops following stage 1. Dylan Welch leads second.
Connor Zillage, very first pit box there at the head of pit road. He was 2.5 to 3 numbers, too tight. They'll change 4 tires and make adjustments to help him. Kyle Larson also said he was extremely tight loaded. My front tires don't work. They'll make adjustments too to loosen him up, Kim.
You see stage 1 winner Justin Allgaier, bottom of your screen. He said neutral entry, tight across the middle. They'll just make a small air pressure adjustment on those 4 front your tires. Sunoco fuel kind of got angled in a little weird on the box there, though.
Never gets in the race off Progressive pit road. Looks like Allgaier is going to hold serve here. He will. Zillage comes out right behind him. Top 4, top 5, top 6 all maintain their position. And the RCR cars getting a nice jump. +1 for Hill, +4 for Jesse Love. With the passing of Alex Zanardi, the racing world has lost.
Oh, I had no idea.
Faced every challenge with an unwavering spirit. He was fearless and talented on the track, competing in Formula One, kart, IMSA, and World Touring Car Championship. He endeared himself to everyone he encountered. When personal tragedy struck,
he refused to let it define him, turning every challenge into a lesson in courage, dignity, and strength. Alex showed us all how to live a truly meaningful life. Alex Zanardi was 59 years old.
That's actually the first I had heard of that. I don't find myself on the internet much, so I had actually missed that. But no, that shocks me, honestly. I had no idea Alex Zanardi passed away. Tough loss for the motorsports racing world. Great race car driver at that. Tough break. Hard to go from that back to racing, but I guess, that's what probably what Alex Zanardi would want to do anyway. Racer at his purest form. It's Adam Alexander just stated. Fearless. Got that right. Most race car drivers are pretty fearless, but to lose your legs in a devastating accident and continue on with your racing career after the fact, that's pretty fearless. There might be a lot of race car drivers out there that wouldn't do that either. Just waiting for them to come back from commercial so we get back to green flag racing shortly. Under the stage 1 break right now, our 4th caution of the day. Justin Allgaier won the race off of pit road, so he has still not yet lost the lead after leading every single lap of stage 1 from the pole. We'll see if he can do the same exact thing in stage 2. Good fire off on the restarts every single time. Not really a contest between he and another race car in the first couple of turns. Getting up to speed, and he was able to pull out to a 2.5-second lead plus on the only long green flag run we had in that stage. Not a lot of tire fall off. It's really tough if you fall so far behind early in the run to make that up in the back half, because with very minimal tire wear as it is, it's kind of tough to kind of save your stuff for the end of the run. You basically got to go hard from the start of the run and carry that momentum and speed all the way through it.
Lots of places. All saddled up, ready to go. Stage 2 for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series at Texas Motor Speedway here in Fort Worth. Always love going down to the stockyards. Yeah, that's a good time. Nice throwback. And Jamie's favorite barbecue place.
Yeah, Hard Eight. That's where the drivers.
We heard that
are all the
drivers
drivers
race.
about.
That's actually not down at the stockyard.
No, it's not. No, I didn't say it was. Parker did. I thought it was. I was totally wrong.
Yeah, that's good. That's a nice ad lib. State water heaters, onboard camera, Jet Burton having some problems, couple of laps down. Got just a little bit of that crash on lap 1. Truck Series winner here and was top 10 in this race a year ago.
Well, I tell you what, if he just keeps it rolling, the way this race is started,
Right.
he's got a good shot at
Good finish. Josh Bilicki did get the free pass when the caution came out to end the stage. Front row, Allgaier and Zilich. Zilich Allgaier going from the inside lane as we head to the Echo Park Automotive restart zone.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get Justin Allgaier out of that inside lane unless he's not the leader anymore, and even if he's not, he might still choose the inside. Green flag back in the air. Best restart for anybody on the outside lane in the front row all day, and it's Connor Zilich in the one. Best thing going for Zilich is the fact that each of these cars have 4 fresh Goodyear tires on it, and it wasn't after a heat cycle. He will be able to take his car to the front of the field. Kyle Larson down on the bottom lane of the racetrack also able to get clear on Justin Allgaier, and he will take the lead through 3 and 4 away from Zilich, who had taken the lead from Allgaier in turns 1 and 2. Brent Cruz up on the inside, up out of turn 4 as well on Justin Allgaier, who continues to lose track position, and we're going to see how good that 7 car really is now that he is back in traffic for the first time. He's had nothing but clean air all day long. He does hold on for third on Cruz, luckily. Cruz had a big lift in the middle of 1 and 2. Now Brandon Jones, his teammate, going to get underneath him for the 4th spot, and he'll take that away through turns 3 and 4. Zilich not done battling back on his current teammate of the day, Kyle Larson. Larson able to lead the last couple laps. Zilich that time by at the line leads by about a half a car length, but still side by side for the lead. Momentum up on the high side for Larson should be coming. Except for the part he slipped up the racetrack, it looked like a little bit too much in turns 1 and 2, so he couldn't keep the momentum down. Aggressive with his side draft on the 1 car, down the back straightaway, gets the pole. Zilich trying to pull him back with a side draft of his own into 3 and 4. Not much of a wide groove, but these guys side by side for a lap and a half is bringing Justin Allgaier, who dominated the first stage, right back into contention for the lead again. Connor Zilich will be clear through turns 1 and 2. Larson way up the racetrack through the center of that corner for the 2nd lap in a row. Not only loses the lead, but Allgaier for a brief moment got underneath him off of turn 2, but couldn't keep the hammer down on the throttle and stayed to the inside. He had to drift back up in line behind him in the draft. And now entering turns 3 and 4, the top 3 are all single file. Brent Cruz able to hang on for now on Brandon Jones on the 20. For the 4th place position. Sam Mayer in the 41, also in contention right behind both of them. Mayer, a former winner at Texas. Won the closest finish ever to an O'Reilly Series race at Texas Motor Speedway between he and Ryan Sieg in a photo finish just a couple years ago. Spring of 2024. And Zilich out to about a half a second lead now over Kyle Larson, and 0.8 of a second lead to Justin Allgaier in 3rd. Title sponsor of the race for Sam Mayer, and the onboard cam currently showing on the CW right now with the Andy's Frozen Custard Chevrolet. It's on a couple Haas cars this weekend. It's also on the 41 Cole Custard's car. Which that one makes more sense, because if you're going to have a Custard car, you might as well have a driver with the last name Custard sponsoring that car. Allgaier to the inside of Larson, who struggles through turns 1 and 2. Middle off. Larson looks a little too tight getting through turns 1 and 2. He kind of washes up the groove a little bit wider than other drivers I've seen trying to run that line. It works on the high side in 3 and 4, which has a little bit more banking to it, but in turns 1 and 2, not so much. Could be trying to get that lane rubbered in. Maybe later in the race it'll be a little bit better suited for him than what it is now. Most of the Cup cars in practice earlier today were running of the traditional middle or lower line of the track, and not as wide as Larson is running now, so not a lot of rubber buildup before the start of the race today in that lane. Allgaier's fastest lap on lap 14 with his 29.925 still holds as the Xfinity fastest lap of the race. .45 laps in each of the first 2 stages today. Stage 3 will be 110 laps to take us to the end of the 200-lap, 300-mile race. So it is actually the Andy's Frozen Custard 340, and I didn't notice that on NASCAR.com earlier in the week when I was setting the streams up. that it's 340 instead of 300. But I don't know where they got the 340 from, because it's a 300-mile, 200-lap race still. So when I saw the 340 today, I was like, oh, this race might be an extra 40 miles. No, it's not the case. It's still the same distance as it was before, but it's titled sponsored 340. I don't know the conversion from miles to kilometers, but that's the only other thing I can think of. But I don't think that 300 miles is 340 kilometers. That doesn't make any sense. So I don't know where they got 340. Maybe like the special menu item at Andy's is $3.40. I have no idea. Probably not anymore with how expensive things are. Maybe back in the day, but not at this time period. Not in 2026, that's for sure. Sure, Crypto, thanks for tuning in. Didn't see you in the chat a little bit ago. All right. So top 10 in the running order. They got a side-by-side commercial break ongoing on the CW right now. Connor Zilich is still the race leader. Justin Allgaier in second. Brent Cruz third. Kyle Larson fourth. Sam Mayer in fifth. Parker Retzlaff in the sixth place position. Brandon Jones seventh. Austin Hill eighth. Sheldon Creed ninth. And Ryan Sieg rounds out the top 10. Nearly halfway through stage 2. Got some debris on the racetrack down the back straightaway. And I think that's going to warrant a caution, it appears. Austin Dillon in the 3 car, meanwhile, is on pit road. And I wonder if the 3 on pit road is responsible for the debris. But caution flag is out again. 5th caution of the day. 1 hour into today's race. 4 lead changes. Current leader Connor Zilich for Junior Motorsports, who was 1-2 at the front of the field. Larson just lost the 3rd spot to Brent Cruz right before the caution came out. Already seen 3 first-time winners in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series in the first 11 races this year. And seeing Cruz kind of work his way up the leaderboard, I'm like, are we going to see it again? Might just happen.
Just rips everything out there. He was corded when someone came off right there. It's actually in the race. We had this happen in the first 20 laps. We had a Foster came down. Those tires turned out to be corded. So when you found this place being treacherous, sketchy, it's also abrasive right now, and it can be really abrasive to the front tires and just whenever you're fighting. You know, I assume with this 3 car, RCR's done this in the past, where sometimes they bring a 3rd car out there as an R&D car. I assume possibly they probably have a pretty aggressive setup in this car, want to just learn things and see what they can find with Austin Dillon. But that's just 20 laps to have a left front cord. That's crazy.
He really got pretty lucky for that tire disintegrating. Normally it rips all the fenders, the bodywork off, and we saw some debris come out from underneath it, but all the ducks are gone. So caution comes out halfway through our second stage. Everyone should have 3 sets of tires. And I think it's a little early to flip it here, but this is a very, unique racetrack. And there you see all those guys up inside the top 10 driving by. That's what I would have expected, but I have been surprised before. So everybody waiting a little longer pit. Connor Zilich has led laps 6 of his last 7 starts on mile-and-a-half tracks, and he's out front now.
Yeah, tires don't matter as much here at Texas Motor Speedway either, so definitely not going to see anybody try to flip the stage and pick up some potential stage points, a stage win. They're able to be on the right side of the strategy. It's not going to happen here. Connor Zilic is your race leader. Justin Allgaier in second. Brent Cruz third. Kyle Larson fourth. Sam Mayer fifth. And Parker Retzlaff will be sixth for the upcoming restart. Seventh is Brandon Jones. Austin Hill eighth. Sheldon Creed ninth. Ryan Segan 10th. 11th is William Sawalich and Sammy Smith rounds out the top dozen. Listening live on KRC, full flag-to-flag coverage of today's O'Reilly Series race at Texas. The Indy's Frozen Custard 340 live right here on the channel. $39 likes so far in the stream on our goal to get to 50 for today's live commentary coverage. Tomorrow we're going to be live at 3 p.m. Eastern, beginning with our pre-race show for the NASCAR Cup Series Worth 400 at Texas Motor Speedway. All right. Just over an hour in. Again, 4 lead changes, 5 yellows. 24 laps of caution so far. That's quite a few. First caution of stage 2 ongoing at the moment. Again, it is for debris on the back straightaway. Austin Dillon had a left front tire come apart. Dillon, one of 3 Cup regulars in the field today. We had 3 Cup regulars in the truck race last night, none of which are in today's O'Reilly race. The 3 today, Connor Zilic, Kyle Larson, and Austin Dillon. Last night in the truck race, we had seen the likes of Kyle Busch, Carson Hocevar in that field. And O'Reilly regular Brandon Jones actually ran in that race pretty well at that. Top 5, top 10 all day. Ross Chastain also in that race last night.
Serving the world's finest ribs.
Thanks, Adam. Well, it's been a rough go. That's how Sam Mayer summarized his season to me this week. In a year where he felt like he should have had at least 2 wins, he said we've really only been able to execute about that many races. He said it's not from a lack of speed, though. It's just been little things. A wrong push last week, a blown motor, ran out of gas at Vegas. He now comes to a place he has 4 top 10s in the last 5 visits, including that win back in 2024. He said, I tend to do better at these faster type racetrack. He's hoping that leads to a win today. But guys, they've got something else on their mind during this race. Let's check in with team radio for the 41 right now.
If the race is going to be long, like there's next time, what do you think the chances are of getting scored out of Andy Frozen Custard?
I need to DoorDash. They got those treat trucks all around. Right, you told us. They're all over the place. I will say I'm going to do my part in supporting today's sponsor, and when we're all wrapped up, I'm definitely going to Andy's. Nice little Concord. I would like some. They've sold me. They have, it's all the marketing is words. At least for one customer, that's me right here in the booth. I would have missed this bet, but there's someone else in this booth who said recently they went to Andy's. Yeah, I've been twice in the last month. I know. If you only knew how rare that is, to know you had sugar and sweets. It's something that tastes good. It was delicious. Connor, that's guys. In control, leaders taking the inside lane all day today. That's where the one will be. Allgaier to his right. These 2 drivers have combined to lead 68 laps today as they head to the Echo Park.
Pretty much all of them.
19 laps to go in stage.
Outside of the fact Kyle Larson was able to lead for a couple of laps on the last restart. We'll see what this one will be like. Carson Kvapil inside of row 1. First time he's had a restart as a control car because Justin Allgaier led for every lap of stage 1, even through those plentiful cautions that we did see. Allgaier back into second place. He was on the outside of row 1 for the restart. He is battling currently with Brent Cruz, the rookie. Sam Mayer in the 41, right in contention as well. Directly behind the side-by-side traffic in front. 3 wide up out of the exit of turn 4. Slight contact between Cruz and Allgaier. Allgaier looked like he was trying to go to the inside and maybe side draft the 41, and Mayer didn't realize that Brent Cruz was there. And that could have turned the 7 across the nose of the 19 into the 41. Somehow the 7 and 41 didn't make contact, and the contact we did see between Allgaier and Cruz was very minimal as far as causing any kind of damage. Slowed the pace of everybody down quite a bit. Connor Zilic in the 1 car started to pull away because of this intense battle for second going on behind him. Allgaier breaking free of the pack now all of a sudden in that second spot. We'll see if he can maybe run down his teammate. Kyle Larson falling back another spot on the restart to 5th. And Sam Mayer not going anywhere. He's still giving a lot of pressure to Brent Cruz in 3rd. Another solid day for Parker Retzlaff, riding in the 7th place position on board on the CW.
Key to get clear. I think he needs to be on the outside to make this pass work. It'll be hard to get to the outside of Kyle Larson, but Mayer has a really good car. We've seen him on the long run have exceptional speed. Hey, I'll bet you today. You know, he's got to win first, Parker. Here's Mayer at -3, came in 20 points out. Now, I will say this. It's one thing to get into the chase. It's another thing to put yourself in championship position after the reset. Ultimately, you want to climb up inside the top 10 to be in a good spot once the chase begins. But Sam Mayer doing all the things he needs to do to confront some of that adversity he's faced early in the season. Yeah, they've got to get going, right? They just got to start finish fast. They have finish line. Points. They've just got to get going. And, you know, as you mentioned in the pre-race, essentially, we don't know where you're really going to have to be come chase time in terms of the points and seeding to have a chance at the championship. So I think for them, as we saw, Kyle Sieg was a little slow. He's on a road right now. For the 41 team, they've just got to get going and start putting points on the board. Take a break here for Kyle Sieg at that top.
12 laps to go now in stage 1. Still 1.7 second lead for Connor Zilic over Justin Allgaier. 1.9 seconds to Brent Cruz in 3rd. And Kyle Larson back to 4th place again. 3 seconds out of the lead right now. In the 5th place position is Sam Mayer. Brandon Jones sits in 6th. 7th is Parker Retzlaff. Austin Hill 8th. Sheldon Creed 9th. And William Sawalich rounds out the top 10. Sammy Smith in 11th. Carson Quapple 12th. Ryan Sieg 13th. Jesse Love 14th. And Harrison Burton 15th. 16th is Jeremy Clements. Dean Thompson in 17th. 18th, Anthony Alfredo. Raja Karuth 19th. And Blaine Perkins is 20th. 21st, Josh Williams. LeVar Scott 22nd. Austin Dillon 23rd. Brennan Poole 24th and 25th. Ryan Ellis. Patrick Starpolian 26th. Josh Balicki 27th. 28th, Taylor Gray. And he is the last car in the lead lap. He had a spin on lap 1, and we haven't really seen much of Gray since. 29th, first car lap down right now is Joey Gase. David Starr 30th. Garrett Smithley 31st. 32nd for Jeb Burton, 2 laps down for him. Kyle Sieg just came to pit road. Unscheduled stop for him. He's still there. He's in 33rd. Mason Maggio, 5 laps down, had some damage from an incident. He is 34th. And then he got 4 cars out of the race today so far. Austin Green in 35th, Brad Perez 36th, Corey Day 37th, and Dawson Cram 38th. That rounds out the full 38-car field as we are 82 laps in out of 200, and we are closing towards the end of stage number 2. Less than 10 laps to go in this second stage so far. Connor Zilic ran his fastest lap of the race on lap 55 in stage 2. Brent Cruz also ran his fastest lap of the race of those up inside the top 3 at lap 56, and also lap 55 for Sam Mayer running his fastest lap. So good adjustments maybe made to those couple of drivers. Justin Allgaier, after dominating the opening stage, just lost second place now to Brent Cruz in the 19, who is on the move. First-time winner Corey Day at Talladega. First-time winner Sheldon Creed at Atlanta this season. William Sawalich won his first career O'Reilly race at Rockingham on Easter weekend. Can Brent Cruz be the fourth driver to win his first race of the season? And he could become the youngest winner all time, I believe, in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, as he just turned 18 years old in the last month or two. Ran some races at 17 years of age, and obviously if he can go on and get a win, that's going to move him up in points pretty quickly also. Taylor Gray coming his way to pit road. Unscheduled stop for the 54. Tough break for Taylor Gray, so potential suspension issue of some sort, causing some very mishandling with his race car. He was not only the last car in the lead lap, but he was like 5 seconds off the next car in front of him. Obviously in a JGR Toyota, that is not a lot of speed in a car that we usually would see a lot of speed in. And Gray does have a win this season already, and it came on a 1.5 miles at Kansas just 2 weeks ago, which was the last 1.5 mile track on the circuit. So win 1.5 miles and then have problems in the next one with an opening lap incident. Now, other mechanical gremlins are starting to take over for that 54 team. Brent Cruz has been the fastest car on the racetrack the last several laps. He's eating away at Connor Zilich's lead. We're late in stage number 2. I'm not sure if he's going to have enough time to get to Connor Zilich, but if he does, he's going to give him a run for his money. Cruz one of the 3 remaining Dash for Cash competitors for the $100,000 bonus. Two laps to go this time by now for Zilich. I think these teams are going to have to make some adjustments to try to get to where Brent Cruz is at with this many laps on their tires. This has definitely been the most green flag laps we've seen on one set of tires so far today when you consider the fact that Stage 1 had an abundance of cautions. We did have one caution right in the middle of Stage 2, but still well over 30 green flag laps when it was right around 20 or so back at Stage 1. Final lap of the opening stage. A final lap of Stage 2. Apologize for that. Allgaier, who's got the most stage points on the season, picked up another stage win today, sitting third right now. A little bit of on-track contact in the middle of turns 3 and 4 a couple laps ago in a battle between Dean Thompson and Jesse Love. Love struggling in that number 2 RCR Chevrolet here this afternoon. He is back in the 18th place position. Lost an extra spot to Roger Kruth in the 32 after the slight contact between he and Thompson a couple of laps ago. Well, Brent Cruz isn't going to catch Connor Zilich with just one more corner to go, but he is only about 2 to 3 car lengths behind him. And as they roll their way through 3 and 4, sticking his nose in the dirty air right behind Zilich, he is right there for the taking. Another lap or two, I think he would have had him. He was definitely the fastest car on track by the end of the stage, but it's Connor Zilich who's going to go on to win stage number 2. Most winningest driver of the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series last season, and Zilich, the Cup regular, who has one O'Reilly win this year, trying to go for number 2, win stage 2 here today at Texas. Brent Cruz in second place, Justin Allgaier third, Kyle Larson fourth, Sam Mayer rounding out the top 5 in 5th. Brandon Jones in 6th, Parker Retzlaff 7th, Austin Hill 8th, Sheldon Creed 9th, and William Sawalich rounds out the top 10. 1 point per position for the top 10. 10 points for first, all the way down to 1 point for 10th. Now for the Cup regulars who finished top 10 like Connor Zilic and Kyle Larson, they do not get points for the driver standings, but those teams will still get points for the owner standings. So that'll help the 1 in 88 programs, which are running every race this year for Junior Motorsports, just part-time drivers filling the full-time ride itself, where we will see that car on track the rest of the season, as we have every race to this point in the season. All right. So end of stage 2. We're going to end our chat poll off now. We're at 49 votes for who you think is going to win today's race. And as we finish things off, we've got a tie atop first between Kyle Larson and Justin Allgaier, both at 33% of the votes to go for the win. 29% of you say somebody other than Larson, Allgaier, or Love will win, and only 5% of you say Jesse Love, who is well off the pace today. Honestly, if I go back and change that chat poll, I would have taken him out of there and put Connor Zilic in once I realized that Connor Zilic was actually in the race this weekend. So, yeah, sorry for that. Because I do like to put the Cup regulars in there because they're usually of the favorites to win, just like we've seen so far today. And last night, Carson Hocevar was able to win the Cup race. 1-2 finish for the Cup regulars at Spire Motorsports between he and Kyle Busch, finishing first and second place. Second pit stops of the day upcoming when we get this stage 2 break. Lap 90, time of the caution, our 6th yellow of the day. It took almost 45 minutes to complete the first stage, and it only, from the end of stage 1, has gotten to about an hour and 19 minutes to get to the end of stage 2. So much faster second stage by about 12 minutes or so. And that was still with the caution right in the middle of it, and that was counting the stage yellow laps as well back at the end of stage 1 initially also. Sid Lanier still sticking with Zilic. Yeah, my pre-race pick was Kyle Larson. I didn't state it on our live commentary stream at all, but Kyle Larson was my pick for the win today. I'll shoot you guys straight. Even though he's not in the lead right now, I could have just said, like, oh, no, it's a Connor Zilic. No, but I'm being truthful. Yeah, Kyle Larson was my pick pre-race. Pretty much take Larson every O'Reilly race there is anyway, so it's not really a bold take by any means, but surprised that he hasn't really led much today. He led a couple of laps on a restart. Early in stage 2, he led for 2 laps. 53 laps led for Justin Allgaier and 38 for Zilic thus far. Of the 4 lead changes, those are the only 3 drivers to lead any laps. Currently running first, third, and fourth. Leon Agro, thanks for tuning in. A lot of wrecking, yes, there has been a lot of that today. A lot less in stage 2, but now that we're getting into the final stage, and if we get into any late race situations with how wild those restarts were last night at the truck race, I would not doubt if we see some late cautions today as well. Back from commercial, pit stop should be happening shortly. On the CW. I would imagine pit road will be open this time by. The leaders are just working their way down the back straightaway. All right. And the field is starting to head to the apron off the exit of turn 4. Again, pit road is open.
tires and fuel for the one, Kim.
That's not great for his teammate Justin Allgaier either. Said Brecky off too because he's so tight on throttle that he's pushing way too high. But he also needs it to turn better center. You see that chassis adjustment, wedge air pressure. This is a big swing for Allgaier. 19 of Brent Cruz on the bottom. He said car's really good. Little bit of everything there. Balance maybe more so on the stunt side. He said he couldn't get into fourth gear very well, but he's pretty positive. He said it was a me thing, not a car thing.
Race off Progressive Pit Road big. You want to be in control beginning the final stage.
All right, Connor Zilic, after winning Stage 2, wins the race off pit road as well. Larson up a spot, Allgaier down a spot. They'll transfer position back and forth. Austin Hill in the back half of the top 10 up a couple positions, and Brandon Jones up a spot as well. So, a couple of small moves inside the top 10. Sam Mayer, I believe, lost the most spots on pit road because he went in, I believe, in either 5th or 6th, and he is no longer in the top 10. So very slow pit stop for the 41 team that needs a good run today after a very slow start to the season so far. Where again, Sam Mayer is outside the top 12 in points as far as those chase standings go. Take a look here. 14th in points for Sam Mayer again coming into the day. Raja Karuth was the driver he's trying to catch. Karuth in the 32 this weekend for Jordan Anderson Racing, so not quite in the junior motorsports equipment that we've seen a couple of other times this season. Karuth is sitting in 18th, while Mayer right now is scored in 10th. But our leaderboard's not completely updated yet. Still got to wait for them to get back to the start-finish line. Josh Balicki, I can tell you, is not in second. All right. As soon as I come back from break, I'll let you listen into a little bit more of the CW broadcast, as you've heard so far at various times. Adam Alexander, Jamie McMurray, and Parker Kligerman on call on the CW. We'll take a quick break in the meantime. We're listening live on KRC, full flag-to-flag coverage of the Indy's Frozen Custard 340 for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series at Texas Motor Speedway on KRC. Brett Whitesides, thanks for tuning in. Root for the 7. A lot of Allgaier fans, of course. He's a mainstay of the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Races for junior motorsports as well, so a couple of reasons maybe as to why he's got that big fan base. When it comes to the series, we know you can rely on seeing him every weekend, year in and year out in this series. Jumping between this and the Kentucky Derby. Yeah, Kentucky Derby on a little bit later today. Races at Churchill Downs are continuing at the moment, but the Derby itself not going to be for a couple hours yet.
Stage, hopefully with the top 10, if not top 5. He was flirting, though, with the top 10 by the end of that stage, guys.
Making progress. We'll see what he can do on the long haul here in the final stage. Closing on the midway point as drivers make their way through the Echo Park restart zone. Connor Zilic in charge in Texas.
20 struggled a little bit to get going on that restart. Wasn't able to help his teammate Brent Cruz. Look at that commitment though on the outside through the middle of the 19, but Larson's still going to hang with him right on the inside, along with Allgaier behind him inside of Jones.
Yeah, I think Brent was almost overcommitted on the outside a little bit. You saw him giving up on the exits. They get close to each other in the entry to 3 a little bit, and Larson's able to get through right there. So something for Brent Cruz to learn about that extra 2. It's enticing, but you don't want to overdo it.
Well, the Larson seems to be really good on the short run. You get him 1 or 2 laps, that car fires off really good, but un-Larson-like, it just doesn't look to me like he has the long run speed. And in practice yesterday, that seemed to be the strong suit of the 88.
It's a Bristol team. Zilich, Larson, and Cruz, the top 3, racing for position here. 41 is Mayer, going to the inside of Austin Hill. Parker Retzlaff right there as well. And involved in the battle for the Dash for Cash, Sammy Smith in that mix into the top 10.
This is so you hear Carson Waffle lifting super early there, just trying to time where to be, where to get the best air. You have a lot of decisions to make when the cars are side by side in front of you. It's how treacherous this track is, but also when you don't have clean air, good air, you're stuck in the dirty air around you. You kind of have to back up the corners and do your best to just find incremental amounts of cleaner air to try and help that car get to the corner.
Gosh, I couldn't tell who that was inside of Carson, but it looked like they got really loose. It might have been Sheldon Creed right there. You see he lost his momentum. It's going to allow Jesse Love to get back to his inside.
Ryan Sieg, blue 39, racing outside of the 96 of Anthony Alfredo. Sieg had worked his way to the top 10 after starting in the back. Not going great for him now. William Sawalich has done a great job of hanging in with that damaged race car. Sam Sarah on board. Jesse Love trying to come back. He's in 12th. About the fact 11 cars just ran their fastest lap of the day. Business picking up. Final stage, 99 to go in the race.
Oh, Carson was able to get underneath Sammy Smith right there, right in the middle of turns 1 and 2.
I don't know if he's going to get the 2 hands out like we saw earlier in the race, but he felt like he let him by. I think Sammy Smith did not appreciate getting loosened up off a 2 right there and sends a bit of a message back to his teammate Carson Quaffle to not do that again.
Left-hand side of your screen, Brent Cruz, who we talked about being the best car at the end of stage 2. Larson took off really good at the start of this final stage, but now Brent Cruz slowly starting to reel him in, a 10th quicker than both Larson and Zilich ran, and you see the leaders right there in front of those guys. So good battle for the lead right here with that 19 most likely being the best car.
And if Brent Cruz gets a clean air, watch out, because he's been doing a lot of these lap times consistently following other drivers in dirty air. If he's able to get by these guys and get clean air, he might check out.
Well, and the one is Zilich is struggling right now. When you look at his lap times, he ran a 30.84 that last lap. That's 2:10 slower. I mean, that's the 5th best time on the track, and he has the best track position. So the one car not liking where his car is. You see 88 of Kyle now trying to work to the outside. He knows the one is struggling. He needs to get by him. Cruz had a bad set of corners right there. See what Kyle chooses to do on this end. God, I think he wants to get to the outside. Oh, look at that through the middle. The speed, the 80. Oh, he got him loose right there. He's going to get to the inside.
They get side by side. Should open the door for Cruz to gain some ground. Here he comes as Larson goes low on Zilich, looking for the race lead.
Look out. It's going to cost them both. Look out. I thought all 3 of them were wrecked. Man, that was tight.
Up the track right here. Cruz gets to the inside. I can't believe they all made it on the exit right there. That's unbelievable.
That should be 3 wrecked race cars that just didn't have to wreck. Like, look at this. And none of them, we'll see if this continues, but no cut down tires from that or anything. Like, that is amazing. The composite body of this race car allows you to get away with that. So cool. Let's take a listen to the radio of the 88. Thanks for 88. But the inner motorsport cars just run all over each other. I just can't believe it.
That's Marty being a little frustrated, I think, in the moment. And listen, just because you drive for the same organization doesn't mean you don't want to beat them. And everybody is selfish in these moments. They talk about maybe wanting to work together a little better as a team or as an organization.
Yeah, I think the thing he's pointing out is that Zillich squeezed him down into 3, and they took the air off. And remember, we saw that between the teammates in RCR back in Kansas. Yeah, it's racing, especially for the lead, that sort of thing. Controlling clean air is so important as Allgaier looks the inside here of Brent Cruz. But when you squeeze a driver like that in the 3 at Texas specifically, you're putting that driver in a very compromised position.
I do want to point out, reference this last stage, Larson didn't look like he had a car capable of winning. As you look at the lap times now, has got that clean air. It's about 2/10 quicker.
Clean air is king. Yeah.
Jamie's to Texas.
All right, right around 90 laps to go with Kyle Larson out in front of the field. A wild battle for the lead. 3 wide for the lead, in fact, off turn 4 during this green flag run between Larson, Zilic, and Cruz. Connor Zilic in the 1 car had the lead. Larson was going for the middle, slid up the racetrack. Brent Cruz trying to cram it in on the bottom at the last second, thinking there was enough of a hold there. There wasn't. They slid up off the exit of turn 4. All 3 cars making contact with one another and still remaining in the top 3 positions. Justin Allgaier for a brief moment had caught up to the back of the 1 and the 19 in that battle for second, ongoing after Larson got into the lead and started pulling away a bit. Since that battle had cooled off with Justin Allgaier, it has now been the 19 and the 1 going back and forth, and right now Brent Cruz and the 19 will take over second again. Cruz had the best car at the end of stage 2 when he was running down Connor Zilic, who went on to win the second stage, and Justin Allgaier, who won stage 1, finished third in stage number 2. Kyle Larson was fourth at the end of the first third at the end of the first stage, and at the end of stage 2, he was fourth. Had led a couple of laps on a restart earlier. These are the first laps he has led on a non-restart so far today. He got out in front and has set sail just a bit after that battle for the lead with Connor Zilic and Brent Cruz moments ago. He's got a 2.5 second advantage right now. This next lap is going to be the first full lap that Brent Cruz has not been battling with Connor Zilic since Larson took the lead. Now I want to see the lap time between the 19 and the 88 this time by to see who's quicker. In that last lap, it was Kyle Larson, but not by a lot, just a couple hundredths of a second over the new second-place driver. Justin Allgaier going to move into third as well, and his lap time is actually a little bit quicker than Cruz that last lap, but not as quick as Larson by a couple thousandths of a second. Connor Zilic falls to fourth. Zilic running a 31.6 that last lap, albeit he was getting past on the racetrack. Not only making it past, but getting past, going to hurt the optimum lap time by both drivers. Everybody will have to pit one more time in today's race. We will be seeing some green flag pit stops at some point in stage 3. Final stage being 110 laps. By the time we went green, it was just over 100 laps to go. Not a lot of tire wear. You're going to see a lot of these teams push the fuel run probably out as far as they can, just in case caution comes out that they don't get trapped a lap down. But I wouldn't expect to see any pit stops until at least the fuel window opens, which isn't going to be until less than 60 laps left.
CW
Parker Kligerman, Jamie McMurray, I'm Adam Alexander. Our part of the bets hanging out in the CW garage. Dylan Welch, Kim Kuhn on the pit lane.
Guys, we saw Larson get to the lead there about 10 laps ago. And because Britt Cruz had to race Allgaier and Zilich, those guys, Kyle is able to drive out to almost a 3-second lead. But as he's gotten to the lead, now Cruz in second place. We're going to have a really good race for the lead here because I think Cruz might have the speed to run Kyle back down on the long run.
I just think about what he did there at the end of stage 2, right? And how strong he was in the back half of that run. And we're going to get, if we don't get cautions, we're going to get a couple of long runs here in the final stage that could really allow that 19 team to show off what they have. Jeremy Clements, top 15, last 3 races, top 5. At Talladega, he's got 51. Making his 542nd start here today. Has never finished in the top 10 in Texas, racing with Jesse Love. What about that 2 car? Just not where they want to be, I got to guess, Kim.
Yeah, they've been battling handling issues all race long before the last stop, just before it tightened 3 and 4. It feels like it'd be interesting if they're hard at 1 and 2 sets. But then at other times it feels tight, washes off the bottom of the racetrack. And last thing you want for the crew chief is getting reports on different things the car is doing. Usually you want one problem to address. They've had to battle everything. Right now, though, the most recent report after going green, Dylan, he is still very loose.
It's something to watch back at the front of the field as they monitor the gap between the 88 and Larson and the 19 of Brent Cruz. Marty Lindley came on the radio right at the start of this run and said, Kyle, hang with me for 20 laps. You'll be better. That's where they feel like their sweet spot is on the long run. But they also just came back on the radio. Marty did and told Kyle, 19 is better. We need to be better. So this is going to be some overlap here. The 19 is going to go to the long run, but the 18 has been good in the long run too. Or they think they have, man. See how it's going to do with that gap.
So one thing to keep in mind, lap traffic always plays a role in the outcome of the race here. And as you look at Larson lapping these cars, there are cars all the way around the racetrack. Look at this. The whole field is spread out. There's no clean air anywhere on the racetrack. And this is when the good cars shine from the bad cars because you can maneuver. And Parker, you referenced Brent Cruz earlier being able to maneuver. He can run the bottom, he can run the top. And as we look at lap times right now, Larson can maintain every once in a while, but then Brent will rattle off 1 or 2 tenths quicker than him. And a lot of that is just he's able to get through the traffic a little better. I'm glad to hear Marty reference to or tell Kyle, like, listen, we have to be getting better. We can't be content with where we are right now because the 19 is better on the long run.
And think about this, though. You're talking about that's Kyle Larson, who's considered one of the best in NASCAR, in the Cup Series, in the O'Reilly Series, at getting through traffic. It's what makes him so good at places like Bristol and those short tracks that he's so dominant at sometimes. So I think he is one of the best, but that shows you he just doesn't have the car, to your point, that Brent Cruz has in terms of versatility.
And timing's everything on the lap traffic. If you get guys like this, where you have Austin Hill on the inside, you see Belichier right there on the outside, too wide, there's just nowhere you can go. So there's a little bit of luck that plays into it, and the timing of when those guys, get too wide in front of you. And what you can do, you see the guy right there loose inside of Austin Hill.
Punching waffle there in 9th, Sammy Smith right behind him in 10th. All 5 Junior Motorsports Chevrolets inside the top 10. You think about what they've done this year, 6 victories in 11 races with 4 different drivers. They've been top 5 in half of their starts among all of their teams, and you see the numbers here in what they're doing today, but it's been such a productive start to the campaign. The only driver that has multiple victories this year, Allgaier with 3, and he's 3rd right now.
So crazy how much this race has changed throughout the stages. We saw Allgaier just wax him in the first stage, win by 3 seconds. Looked like it was just going to be a walkaway race. And Brent Cruz was the best car, and now we see Larson out front. And all these guys just trying to get through lap traffic.
I just love that onboard there. Sam Mayer watching Austin Hill navigate the different lanes of this racetrack, trying to get a run and starting to have some momentum on Sam Mayer down the front stretch. They're battling for 7th, which would move Hill to one of the highest positions he's been all day. Good run here in stage 3 for him. It's like they worked on that car and got better and better each stage. He's moving forward.
All right, Retzloff, again, up to the top 5, just past Connor Zilich, who led this race, earlier. Looked like he maybe had the car to beat. Parker Retzloff, again, with Viking Motorsports, just doing exceptional job. Again,
Well, the one car is struggling. This Better Hearing Month, Starkey can help you hear your best. Scan the QR code to take a short free online hearing test at starkey.com. Now let's listen to Starkey Radio.
Oh.
That's so frustrating as a driver when you get this long green flag run and isn't you also don't know all the circumstances. You're trying to crew chief from inside the car and it's so hard. Dylan, do you have more on Zilich?
You heard him talk about one that short came. Remember, Taylor Gray was the first team to pick last at Kansas a couple weeks ago, and that undercut worked for them. It ended up winning them the race. So the tire fall off and things are different, but that may be a move that they should consider because I think if they can maybe get some clean air and get the balance a little better, it might work for the one. But he definitely needs some adjustments because he's doubled back on that even since that radio and complained about how bad the car is out to many days.
Yeah, that's fine, but what, we're about 13 or 14 laps away from that moment that could be the earliest you can come to pit road. So the good news is, yeah, you can pull it off. The bad news is you have a large amount of laps between you and being able to pull off that strategy. Oh, look at Sam Mayer. Something snap. Austin Hill gets to the inside of him right there. Some of these cars are just right on edge. The wheel is rolling. Yeah, it's a couple guys just in the last few laps. They've really tuned on that car, driving towards the top line.
Hill was up 6th on earlier this year at Daytona. Green flag pit stops on the way. 72 to go. Larson leads at Texas.
We'll go through the full field running order with Kyle Larson in the lead by 3.3 seconds over Brent Cruz. Justin Allgaier in third, Brandon Jones fourth. Parker Retzlaff rounds out the top 5 in fifth. Austin Hill is sixth. Carson Quapple seventh. Connor Zilich in eighth. Sam Mayer ninth, and Sammy Smith rounds out the top 10. 11th place is William Sawalich with Sheldon Creed in 12th. 13th is Jeremy Clements. 14th for Jesse Love, Ryan Sieg in 15th. 16th place is Anthony Alfredo, Dean Thompson in 17th, Raja Kruth 18th. 19th is Harrison Burton and Patrick Staropoli in 20th. 21st, Josh Williams, 22nd, LeVar Scott, Blaine Perkins in 23rd. Brennan Poole 24th is the first car lap down, followed by Ryan Ellison 25th. Joey Gase 26th, Josh Bilicki 27th, Austin Dillon 28th, Jeb Burton 29th, and 30th is David Starr. 31st, Garrett Smithley, Kyle Sieg 32nd, Mason Maggio 33rd, Taylor Gray 34th, Austin Green in 35th. 36th for Brad Perez, Corey Day 37th, and Dawson Cram rounds out the 38-car field. We are down to 68 laps to go here at the Texas Motor Speedway. Despite the plentiful of cautions in Stage 1 and Stage 2, we had one for incident. No caution so far in Stage number 3. We have been green for a little over 40 consecutive laps. This is the longest green flag run by far on the day. 7 lead changes, 1 hour 45 minutes into the race, 6 cautions, 32 laps under the yellow of the 133 complete so far. Again, a 3.2 second lead for Kyle Larson is our race statistics to this point. 29 laps led for Larson, 1 for Brent Cruz, 53 for Justin Allgaier, most in the race. Allgaier was also the Stage 1 winner. Stage 2 winner Connor Zilich had led for 48 laps. He has fallen now back to 9th. Xfinity, or I should say O'Reilly Dash for Cash competitors. Brent Cruz leads the Dash for Cash in that $100,000 bonus. He is in second, currently running in the second spot in the Dash for Cash would be... just looking at the running order here. Sammy Smith is one of the Dash for Cash competitors in 10th. And it wasn't Sam Mayer, I believe. Brandon Jones was the other one. Just want to make sure. Maybe Sheldon Creed. It's weird because when the commercial break is ongoing and they still have the leaderboard at the bottom of the screen, the green icons over the Dash for Cash competitors disappears. Just want to triple check on that. Corey Day, one of the Dash for Cash competitors, out of the race after winning Talladega a week ago. To compete for the $100,000 bonus this week, he ends up in the garage area on lap 1. After a spin coming up out of turn 2. I do know Brent Cruz definitely leads the Dash for Cash. He's actually the highest running of any O'Reilly Series regular. But he is also racing for the bonus. Still waiting for the leaderboard to pop back up. They got an Arby's ad on going for like the longest of time down at the bottom of the screen. Connor Zilich, and the 1 is very slow on the racetrack. And he's coming to pit road with an issue. Yep, right front tire down for Connor Zilich. And we lost sound. And if everything cycles through green flag pit stop wise, he's going to be on the border of being able to make it on fuel to the end of the race. I don't know if he'll make it 64 laps. It's going to be tight if it did stay green to the end. But what I can say is that if everybody cycles through and then we catch another caution, at least he'll be on the lead lap. So he has not completely gone a lap down at this juncture. 63 laps left. We haven't seen anybody else hit pit road up to this point. The Dash for Cash competitors, I was right, is Brent Cruz, Sammy Smith, and Sheldon Creed. Still in this race. So Brent Cruz leads the Dash for Cash in the second spot. Then Sammy Smith is in ninth and Sheldon Creed 11th. Pretty handily he's got that spot for now, but this race is still far from over. We got one more pit stop left. Sue Brown, thanks for tuning in. Tim, of course, listening along. See you guys in the chat. Thank you for tuning in, watching. Got about 60 concurrent viewers currently enjoying today's broadcast, enough to stick around. And also, we have about 53 likes on the stream. Our goal was to get to 50, so we did get there already. Be sure to still hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. It does help the channel out a ton. Subscribe for more NASCAR content along the way. We'll be live for tomorrow's NASCAR Cup race, the Worth 400 at Texas Motor Speedway at 3 p.m. Eastern, beginning with our pre-race show. Go over the NASCAR Fantasy League, do some NASCAR trivia, and go over the point standings and review through the season up to this point and the starting lineup, and we'll be off and running for 400 miles, 267 laps tomorrow afternoon. Kyle Larson dealing with some lap traffic right now, but he's got his biggest lead of the day, 4 seconds. It's actually the biggest lead anybody has had in the race today. And this final stage, this is the Kyle Larson we know to expect in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, putting a beating on the field. But we didn't see this Kyle Larson until the final stage. He was stuck back in traffic. Even when he got the lead the one time, he lost it a couple laps later. But that 88 team, Marty Lindley, crew chief of the 88, have made the adjustments necessary to get their driver up running in the forward direction. I also think that middle outer groove is coming in just a little bit more, and that's also aiding Larson. He was running up there early in the race and did not have anywhere near the success that what he has had in this final stage. You can see him through 3 and 4 right now, running that middle to upper groove behind double wide lap traffic. He was also doing it through turns 1 and 2 just before that. 9 car of Carson Kvapil on the pit road for a scheduled stop.
On the pit road. Tense fan exchange. Austin Hill is in it. Green flag stop. It comes to go. He's running inside the top 10. And I'll tell you this too. Everybody on a set of sticker tires here. They have another set laying in the pit. So if we get a caution later, they undoubtedly would come again. Most likely would make another pit stop late if they were given the opportunity under caution. And as more cars in the top 10 start to pin, that makes other cars have to react because you do have a fair amount of falls, so they can't give too many laps out there to go further. Then if another car does come down pit road with that shorter pit, it forces these other ones on track to come down.
And you watch on the left-hand side of your screen, Kyle Larson trying to get by Austin Dillon, held him up for a couple of laps. Brent Cruz dug in over a second to that lead.
Allgaier was 3.1 seconds back when he comes down to make his pit stop. Third is where he was in the running order. Parker Retzlaff also coming in, Dylan.
And he's been in and around the top 5 for most of the afternoon here. He was a little bit tight on entry and in the the center to run the bottom consistently earlier in the race. It's slow in the right rear here as they go around to the left side. Justin Allgaier is also on the right side of the screen. Good fortune surface as well. We see the race leader, Kyle Larson, is into the pits as well. He still is reporting that he's too tight. That's been his only report all day today. He'll hit his marks here on pit road. They'll change 4 tires. They've got nothing but air pressure.
Larson. I'll hold off. Justin Allgaier already at speed, looking to surface his way back into traffic. Will blend around Brent Cruz in the 19, the 20 of Brandon Jones right there also. He'll get by on the back straightaway. Quite a bit of lost time for Brent Cruz. He was in the second place position before the green flag pit stop started. He not only loses time to the 88, but he gets surpassed by both Brandon Jones, who pitted the same lap as Brent Cruz, as well as the 7 of Justin Allgaier. Still in the lead for the Dash for Cash $100,000 bonus, but as he goes for his first career win here today, he's got a little bit of work cut out for him. Allgaier getting very close to the wall up out of turn 2. Flying by up out of that corner. Almost looked like he made contact with the wall. He slowed up so much out of turn 2. Either that or he lifted and barely kept it off the wall. Taking a look at that. No, he did get a piece of the fence. They're showing a replay right now. Yeah, he bounced right off of it. Got to be careful. That's a decent amount of contact at an awkward angle up out of the exit of the corner. I think he lucked out. Had that been a next-gen car, he could have broken a toe link if he hit that as awkward of an angle as he did. But luckily with these O'Reilly Series race cars, maybe a slight bit more durable if you were to pancake like that. He's also got to hope that he doesn't have a tire rub and will have to bring it to pit road because, again, that was a decent hit. Raja Carruth is still on the racetrack right now. He has not yet made a green flag pit stop. He's roughly 8 seconds ahead of Kyle Larson, who would be the race leader once Carruth pits. Hanging out, hoping for a caution. Trap a few extra cars a lap down. He was already at the tail end of the lead lap. And Carruth is now on pit road, so Kyle Larson will retake the lead again. With Larson out in front, we now have 11 lead changes in the race. And this is the third different time that Larson has led this afternoon, second in stage 3. 50 laps to go this time by. Top 5 in the running order has Larson in the lead, Justin Allgaier in second, Brandon Jones third, Brent Cruz fourth, and Parker Retzlaff up to fifth. What a great run, the 99. Retzlaff's had a great season as a whole as he comes in top 10 in points. After the first 11 races of the year, he sits 10th in the point standings, looking to make a chase spot in the top 12. With that smaller team, a huge step up for Viking Motorsports from years past. 2-car organization now between he and Anthony Alfredo. We've seen Alfredo have some decent runs earlier in the season also, but Retzlaff carrying the banner for that organization. And here is Parker Retzlaff up in the top 5 again here at Texas. Brent Cruz all over the back bumper of his teammate Brandon Jones. Maybe just trying to get close enough to take the air off the rear spoiler, maybe loosen him up and create another pathway to make a pass. Similar to that of how Larson was able to make a pass for the race lead on Connor Zilich earlier in this final stage. Wider arc through turns 1 and 2 for Cruz. He's definitely faster than Jones, but Jones cycled out of the green flag pit stops ahead of him, so now Cruz has to get him back on track. Cruz down to the bottom through 3 and 4. Brandon Jones up near the middle outer groove. They'll be side by side for third place up out of the exit of turn 4, and they'll continue side by side down the racetrack into turn 1. Where things are going to get tight on this end, as they tend to be. Shallow entry down on the bottom for Cruz. Brandon Jones up near the wall on the high side. Cruz almost pulled up in front of him. Probably had a chance had he reacted quicker, but because of the hesitation, Brandon Jones carried that huge amount of momentum out of the exit of turn 2 at the higher lane of the racetrack. stays alongside Cruz, and for the second consecutive time as they reach the start-finish line, they're still nose to nose. Another side draft and pull off on the corner entry to turn 1. Down on the bottom for Cruz. He'll look to slide all the way up the racetrack in front of Jones. He is clear this time. And I'm not sure that Brandon's going to be able to get a crossover going, so he'll just draft in line behind the 19, let Cruz go. Cruz up to 3rd at just over 5 seconds out of the lead. And he's just over 2 seconds behind the second-place car of Allgaier. So 3.1 second lead for Kyle Larson post green flag pit stops. We have about 45 laps to go this time by. 5.2 second advantage over Brent Cruz in 3rd. 5.5 seconds to Brandon Jones in 4th. Parker Retzlaff 8.6 seconds out of the lead in 5th. 10 seconds back is Austin Hill in 6th. 7th is Carson Kvapil, 11.2 back. 13.9 seconds out of the lead for Sam Mayer in 8th. Sammy Smith in 9th is 18.1 seconds off the lead, and Sheldon Creed 20.1 seconds out of the race lead. It's the Andy's Frozen Custard 340. We'll take a break. You're listening live on KRC, full flag-to-flag coverage of the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series at Texas Motor Speedway. Kyle Larson has lost 2 O'Reilly races in which he dominated all race long in because of late cautions. Bad pit stop at Darlington set him back. And then Bristol, it was just the idea of pitting set him back when a couple others stayed out and he was never able to get back to the lead. But either way, they were both late pit stops or late cautions that set up for a potential pit stop opportunity that costed him. So as he leads here, you have to wonder if we get into the final 20 to 30 laps, if we see another yellow, is that pit crew going to be able to bail him out this time? Because the last 2 times, they've either made the wrong decision to pit and never had a chance to get back to the lead with not enough laps. Again, this is another racetrack that doesn't have a high amount of tire fall off. There has been some. I'd say more today than I originally thought we were going to have. But even in a situation right now where we've seen drivers on tires for about 20 laps, we've only seen about 7 to 8 tenths of a second of fall off. I would almost think that right sides might be the way to go. Not going to see as much left side tire wear compared to the rights. So perhaps 2 tires. I will also say, though, the O'Reilly series does seem like they have a slight bit more tire fall off every track we go to compared to that of Cup. So overall, not as much grip, seeing these vehicles slip and slide through the corners compared to the mechanical grip that both the Truck and Cup series have. Those 2 series much similar to each other than what the O'Reilly series is. Which is basically still the Gen 6 car, just with a modified horsepower package. All right, Larson coming up to the line this time. Lead is dropping back a bit. Justin Allgaier starting to close in on the 88.
At Texas Speed Series Larson. Larson is going to at the tire issue. Had to come earlier than he wanted. Dylan told us during the break they are fuel. He's going to need a caution. Reasons: 1, the first he wants to stay on the lead. Second, he wants to come down and get those last set of tires here. Pay attention to. It's going to take Kyle, I think, a few laps to get by the one. He's going to race him hard, not far behind the 88. You're going to see Allgaier. We saw him get into the wall a little bit ago, but I referenced lap time wise, Allgaier's still there. Actually, it's made up almost a second over the past 8 or 10 laps on the 88. This thing runs out green. It's going to be really close, almost 2 tenths that last lap. Or didn't race him too hard right there. But it's cost Larson quite a bit of lap time here. Where's the 7? Right there, you see the 7 at the start and finish line. So Justin can see him. He's going to know how quick he's catching. They're going to reference, listen, 2 tenths that last lap, and that is exactly what you want to hear if you're the driver of the 7. Well, they're all teammates, so if they've been together a long time,
That's Eddie DeHaan, Justin Allgaier spotter right there. A positive encouragement. Look how high this track has moved up. We've heard some issues about tire wear, and the higher they run and the grayer the track, the higher the wear. That would make me a little bit nervous knowing that we're going to have probably the longest run all day long for these guys.
And you can see how much rubber is also laid down, and how gray this place was before, and now you can see that groove is really blackened up with all the rubber that's been laid down the track. So they pushed it higher and higher for sure, but when you get these long runs like this, especially green flag cycle, it lays down a ton of rubber.
What I would be thinking about right now, if I'm cheating the driver, is what do I need for a short run? Because the odds of this going all the way to the checker and not having a caution, if you watched last night in the truck race, if we get a caution late, you get numerous restarts. So
I would expect that too.
Now, so we get ahead of it.
36 to go. Let's go.
All right, 36 laps to go. Looks like there's going to be a little bit of a full throttle sound gear, aka a NASCAR crank it up on CW.
Manager Allgaier is 2 seconds. Cruising third is 4.8 seconds back. He's in line for the dash for cash. His teammate Brandon Jones in fourth. Parker Retzloff rounding out the top 5, looking for his best ever run on a mile and a half. Austin Hill is 6th. Quapple, Mayer, Creed, and Sammy Smith complete the top 10.
But started to level out now. It's at 2 seconds. The gap from Larson to Allgaier. He's chipping into it pretty good there for a while. Made up well over a second, but he's responded. Found a little spot. Yeah. But look at that gap in front of Kyle. That's exactly what he wants to see, and I think that's what's helped him a little bit. Justin's actually got through this lap traffic a little bit better than what Kyle has been able to.
What Larson doesn't want to see is you see the 2-car there and Anthony Alfredo are side by side. Doesn't want to catch them in a moment like that. He'll see that up ahead of him and start plotting what he wants to do if they are side by side or if they get single file. Just how you work through traffic. What makes him so good at working through traffic is he's one of those drivers that can see that 4 or 5 laps before and remember when he gets to them exactly what they did in that corner 4 or 5 laps ago. And that's just one of those things where he doesn't have to hesitate, because he's got such a memory bank of exactly what they've done in front of him.
And you reference those 2 drivers. That's 12th and 13th position on the racetrack. Setting an incredibly fast pace right here, but they are running a half second a lap slower than what Kyle is. So you get 1 or 2 laps like that running a half second slower, and all of a sudden Allgaier, who's 9 seconds back, is there.
Here's the other thing I would say. When he put Zillage a lap down, that's his teammate. So he didn't put up a fight. Those guys you'll see next, it's not team cars. They are going to race it really hard. Let's do a little dash for cash through the field. Kim Kuhn leads us off with number 19.
And Brent Cruz leading the brigade of Dash for Cash drivers, currently in the 3rd position. If he holds out, looking to take home that $100,000, but continuing to impress. Remember, this is only his 2nd mile and a half, and he's a quick learner yesterday. All right, the good position is getting tight during his lap and kissing the wall, and he's maintained that tight position all day long. I talked to Cliff Costa this morning, and he said, look, the most important thing I could get across from yesterday was reminding him that these are big corners. Don't shout out the entry, park the car more. And he just said, look, he's got so much for these big tight tracks. That's going to come with more runs. Right now, it's about tabloid. It's very encouraging on the radio, reminding that young driver, take care of his right front. Carla? Yeah, Kim, and Sheldon Creed currently running P9. He coming in off 8 straight top 10s. It's a career best for Creed. He said, it makes my job easy when we bring fast race cars and unload well consistently. That's not only paying dividends in his average finish this season, which is 6.5, but it's also paying dividends in these Dash for Cash races. He told me he didn't really pay much attention to Dash for Cash until the end of last week's race at Talladega, but said I'd be lying if I hadn't thought about the significance of winning 3 in a row. The only other driver to do that, Noah Gragson, Larson back in 2021. He said, I'd love to just give my team another reason to get riled up. Of course, everyone from Haas Factory will get a bonus if they do win again today, Dylan.
Sandy Smith started 13, and his crew chief, Richey, wasn't going to drive well at the start of the day. So their goal by the end of stage 2 was to try to get inside the Gen 10. They knew the cup rubber would be picked up by then. They have a better understanding of what they needed from their race car. It took them to the end of stage 2 to get there, but they were much better in that stage than in stage 1. So they made some progress in the handling. They've got to 10 now. They've kind of leveled out there. Car's just been okay, but Sammy's looking for his 3rd Texas top 10 in 4 starts.
Yeah, and you think about a month ago, the 18 was really struggling. 3 consecutive runs outside the top 10, back in the top 5.
27 laps to go. Kyle Larson's lead is still 2 seconds. Justin Allgaier was able to trim that down to 2 seconds a little bit ago, and he's pretty much stayed there ever since. Working our way towards 25 laps to go. Again, Kyle Larson leads, Justin Allgaier in 2nd, Brent Cruz 3rd, Brandon Jones 4th, Parker Retzlaff in 5th. 6th place is Austin Hill, 7th for Sam Mayer, Carson Quapple 8th, Sheldon Creed 9th, Sammy Smith in 10th, Jeremy Clements 11th, Anthony Alfredo is actually the last car in the lead lap at 12th. First car lap down is Jesse Love in 13th, Connor Zilich 14th, had that unscheduled stop earlier in the stage, and Ryan Sieg 15th, Harrison Burton 16th, Dean Thompson 17th, Raja Karutan 18th, 19th for William Sawalj, and Josh Williams is 20th. 21st, Patrick Staropoli, LeVar Scott 22nd, Brendan Poole 23rd, Ryan Ellis 24th, and Jeb Burton 25th. 26th is Austin Dillon, Blaine Perkins 27th, Joey Gase 28th, Josh Bilicki 29th, David Starr 30th. 31st for Kyle Sieg, Garrett Smithley 32nd, 33rd Mason Maggio, 34th Taylor Gray, Austin Green 35th, Brad Perez 36th, Corey Day 37th, and Dawson Cram 38th. That rounds out the full 38-car field in this race. Justin Allgaier now within 2 seconds of the race lead on Kyle Larson. Jesse Love maybe going to try to unlap himself on Larson here pretty shortly. I think Love has slightly fresher tires than that of the 88. Might have pitted a little bit later. 23 to go. A few more lap cars upcoming in front of Larson. This could slow him up a bit as well. And as he works his way down to the bottom of the racetrack, where we haven't seen him much, he's just mainly trying to get through the lap traffic at the moment. Spinner Raja Karuth off turn 2. It slides to the inside wall down the back straightaway with the right side of his race car, and the caution is out for the 7th time today with 22 laps to go. Another late caution in a race that Larson leads in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series this season. And this could lend to pit stops and maybe pit strategy, 2 versus 4 tires in another situation where this 88 team with Larson behind the wheel could maybe not bring this team to victory lane.
And you start thinking, too, about the execution on pit road. Caution comes out here. As we said, with just over 20 laps to go. Showing 12 cars on the lead lap. It'll be 13. Jesse Love in position to get the free pass. When the 32 of Raja Karuth crashed, he was scored in the 18th position.
And this is off of turn 2. He's about the group getting so high. Well, eventually he just...
Yeah, he was a little too high. Karuth was.
And then he's just hanging on from there after hitting that wall. Look at the rift. They catch it, but it just doesn't quite have enough room. Once that right rear contacts the wall, then you get behind the steering. You're along for the ride.
Next 3 weeks, Raja going to be back in the 88, so it's good news for him. Goes back over, drives for Junior Motorsports, and just gets some consecutive weeks in the same car, which is what he really needs. That was tight, wasn't it?
You're looking ahead and going, oh, no.
Mayer running 7th and able to get through without getting any damage. Pit road going to open with 20 laps to go.
High pressure pit stops right here.
Yeah,
Larson, Allgaier, Cruz, Jones, Retzloff, the top 5.
Well, and Larson has no buffer. You see that Justin, there's not any lap cars between him. When they get to pit road, 7 is going to be right on the back bumper of Kyle Larson.
Coming down Progressive Pit Road, Dylan.
Larson said he fired off okay after the most recent yellow, but got tighter sooner than the previous run. Marty Lindley said, okay, I'm just going to leave you alone here. They were doing some air pressure with the tires on the wall, pouring fuel for the 88, Kim.
Let's watch the stop of Justin Allgaier there in the middle. He said balance is better, but still edgy with the right rear. They will take 4 fresh Goodyear tires. Brent Cruz at the bottom also taking 4 fresh Goodyear tires. He said, got too tight here, that's all. Again, did not want a chassis adjustment. He said, figure out another way to fix it.
Tremendous execution by the 88 team. Larson wins the race off Progressive Pit Road. A jump for Brandon Jones. Allgaier comes out right behind him. -1 for Brent Cruz, +1 for Austin Hill. Huge restart. Time to finish it in Texas when we come back on CW.
All right, so Kyle Larson continues to lead. His pit crew won him the race off pit road. That is something that has not happened in a late race caution situation for Larson in the last 2 O'Reilly races he ran at Bristol and Darlington, but this time around, the 3rd time's the charm at Texas. He did get the race win at Las Vegas because of getting the lead on a late restart and was able to drive off in the final 30 laps of that one and win. Can he drive off in this one just like he has done for most of Stage 3? The laps led in Stage 3 alone, plus the 2 laps that he led in Stage 2, have now allowed him to eclipse the most laps led on the day. He is at 73, Justin Allgaier at 54, and then Connor Zilich at 48. A couple other drivers with a few laps led, like Raja Kruth led 2 laps during green flag pit stops in Stage 3. Ryan Sieg led 1. And 2 laps led for Brent Cruz. Very short bit on a restart as well back in Stage 2. Got about 80 concurrent viewers watching. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Larson, drive that car like he's stolen it. Well, he knows how to do that. He drives very, very hard. Every lap of every race, I don't know that anybody drives the wheels off a car harder than Kyle Larson does. Used to be a problem for him where he was doing that on low grip racetracks and he would burn his stuff up too quick and he wouldn't have anything for the longer runs. Don't really see that out of him much anymore. He's good at being able to run a fast pace while not running faster, leaving a little bit on the table. So he's got more for later. And that's something that I've seen Larson progress probably the most in the last 3 to 4 years alone. Really, since he went to Hendrick Motorsports, I've seen that huge improvement. And even early in the Hendrick Motorsport days, that season in 2021 when he won 10 races, there were a couple more he left on the board, like that Atlanta race in the spring when Blaney beat him. Like that was a race that he probably shouldn't have given up. There was a year in the Coke 600 too. I think it was 22. See, won 2021. There was a year where he did the same thing in the Coke 600. A year or two later. Might have been the year Blaney won it in 23. All right, double wide. They're going to be going green with 17 laps to go on the restart. Will this be the final one of the day? If the truck race had any indication of how the restarts are going to go late in this one, probably not going to be the last one. Crew chief for the 7 of Allgaier right now.
You have a car, he's been back in traffic all day long. just don't know what somebody's going to have right here, and who's made the right adjustments. Well, they're going to have 17 to go when they take the green flag right here, so some of these crew chiefs will get creative, and you'll give up some long run speed to fire off quick here.
All right, so 17 laps left. Kyle Larson inside of row number 1 on the restart. Brandon Jones actually outside of row number 1. Justin Allgaier inside of row 2. And Brett Cruz on the outside of row 2, not out of it either. Green flag back in the air. Great restart for Kyle Larson. Justin Allgaier might have a pathway to get the second. 3 wide, a few rows back. Nearly 4 in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Great restart for Allgaier right behind Larson, and he is all over his back bumper down the back straightaway, trailing into turns 3 and 4. 2 of the best cars all day today. Who's going to win between them as they come for 16 laps to go at the line this time by?
16. Speed to me. 3 wide back here. Jesse Love, Sammy Smith, and Carson Quapple. Gets spit out. Smith was getting the rear bumper. Teammate Carson Quapple. Let Jesse Love get the free pass, trying to get back in the top 10. Chevy's going at it here for a spot. 10 to go.
Great recovery for the 2 car. We haven't seen him in the top 10 much at all today. Saving the best for last. Great recovery by Ian Stockman.
They've been top 10 every mile-and-a-half race this year. Was in jeopardy today. How about this for third? Cruz, Mayer, Jones, Retzloff right there as well.
Cruz commits to the entry in turn 3, slides up in front of his teammate. See Retzloff having to wheel it on the exit.
Austin Hill taking advantage of the zero. Sheldon Creed coming through. His best position of the day.
And what a restart by Sam Mayer. He put Austin Hill 3 wide by getting to the bottom like we talked about. Was able to grab those spots and now finds himself in third for restarting outside the top 5. That's pretty impressive.
Oh, big moment, Sammy Smith.
Sammy Smith. Fredo takes advantage. One of Connor Zillage trying to do the same. Zillage still 1 lap down.
The angle of that 8 car, Sammy Smith, I just assumed he was going towards the inside wall. How sideways he was, but gathered up and held on to it. Check this out. Look how sideways the 8 Sammy Smith is. Wow.
And Larson doing a great job out front, guys. I know we referenced with Allgaier going to have the short run speed that he needs. But just watching the lap times last time by, about a 10th quicker for Kyle Larson over Justin Allgaier. You see Allgaier just doing everything he can.
Yeah, Allgaier moving up the racetrack just a bit. 12 laps to go now. Larson still leads by 0.6 of a second over the 7 car. Sam Mayer up to 3rd, race high in the running order for him. Remember, if Sam Mayer finishes top 5, you can go to Andy's Frozen Custard and get a $1 small cone. If either he or Sheldon Creed gets a top 5 finish, and right now, even Creed's in the 6th spot if Mayer's not able to get it done for whatever reason from 3rd. Battle for the dash for cash pretty tight as well with Brent Cruz in 4th, Sheldon Creed in 6th. Sammy Smith slipping back a bit to 13th. He's kind of had an off and on day today at moments in the top 10 in this final stage, but hasn't been up in the top 5 for the most part like Cruz has been throughout stages 2 and 3. Allgaier trying to close that gap ever so slightly. He's going to try to make things interesting down the stretch. 10 laps to go this time by between the 88 and the 7. The split, by the way, about a 1.5 seconds between Cruz and Creed with that 2-position buffer for the dash for cash. He's there. I mean, he's only a few car lengths back.
Next series history. We get a repeat this afternoon. Two of the best in the business going at it. Larson won here last year. Allgaier trying to get it done today for his first Texas trophy.
Allgaier up the racetrack just a little bit, searching for more clean air and a higher amount of speed off the exit of the corner with the higher degrees of banking. Further up the track you go versus the bottom. Even in turns 1 and 2 where there's less banking than in 3 and 4, Larson had to slip up out of the gas, but he blocks Allgaier in time off turn 2, and Allgaier cuts him a break as he lifts and lets Larson back in line. But this thing is far from over as they'll be coming up on 5 laps to go now at the start-finish line. Justin Allgaier is just getting off the corners much better on both ends. Larson's been dealing with a tight car all day today. In turns 1 and 2, he was very tight in the first 2 stages, and I think they made some massive adjustments as to why he has been quicker in the final stage. But you can definitely still tell in the closing laps of this race, he is still tight. That the 7 of Allgaier is running him down, despite the fact Larson has the clean air advantage. It's still not fixing the race car completely. And his weakness seems to be Allgaier's best strength right now, and that's why we're seeing the 7 pounce and put a lot of pressure. And Kyle Larson's going to have to earn this win in the final 4 laps. As they come to the start-finish line, he's trying to break the draft on the front stretch a bit. The 7 of Allgaier didn't do the best job of trying to stay in line with him every step of the way on the front stretch. Allgaier now trying to get to that left rear corner panel, maybe loosen Larson up, but Larson doesn't budge. He was trying to take the air off the rear spoiler of his race car, I do believe. And we actually had seen Justin Allgaier try to do that when making a pass on Carson Kvapil. Connor Zilic in the 1 car a little bit earlier on in the race. Allgaier able to stretch the lead out just a little bit through turns 1 and 2. Maybe a half a car length or so, but that's a lot of breathing room compared to what Allgaier's been able to give him over the recent laps. Shallow entry for Allgaier before washing wide in the center of the corner. Looking for that straight line off. 2 laps to go at the line for Kyle Larson. Allgaier closing in the draft on the front stretch. He's a little over a car length behind on entry into turns 1 and 2. Trying to beat Larson off the exit of turn 2 again. He hasn't had as big of a win off the exit of turn 2 as what he did a couple laps ago. And they'll be coming to the white flag this time by. 1 lap to go. Kyle Larson versus Justin Allgaier for the win in the O'Reilly Series at Texas. Down into turns 1 and 2. Allgaier searching for just a little bit more. Larson trying to mirror drive to the outer lane of the racetrack in turns 1 and 2. Allgaier tight in the dirty air. Lost just a smidge of ground. Not a lot, but a little bit. Larson's got about a little over a car length advantage into turn 3. Allgaier sends it on the high side through 3 and 4. Gets up into the gray, gets a little loose, has to lift to keep it off the wall. And that's all she wrote. Kyle Larson wins at Texas. O'Reilly Series win for Larson. 2nd of the season. Allgaier with a runner-up will maintain his gigantic points lead. Sam Mayer finishes 3rd. Brent Cruz, the rookie, 4th. And Parker Retzlaff rounding out the top 5 and 5th here today. Sheldon Creed in 6th. Austin Hill 7th. Brandon Jones in 8th. Jesse Love 9th. And Jeremy Clements with a solid day today rounds out the top 10. Carson Kvapil in 11th, Anthony Alfredo 12th, Sammy Smith 13th, Ryan Sieg 14th, William Sawalich finishes 15th, with Dean Thompson 16th, Patrick Starpoli 17th, Josh Williams 18th, LeVar Scott 19th, and Brendan Poole 20th. We had quite a few drivers take the wave round under that last caution because there was only 12 on the lead lap when we got back to racing, but all the lead lap cars pitted, so a few of the lap cars stayed out Connor Zilich finishes in 21st, first car lap down. Harrison Burton 22nd. Austin Dillon 23rd. Had a left front tire failure earlier in the race. Ryan Ellison 24th. Blaine Perkins 25th. Jeb Burton finishes 26th. 2 laps down for Josh Balicki and Joey Gase 27th and 28th. 3 laps down David Starr 29th. 4 laps down Kyle Sieg in 30th. 6 laps down for Garrett Smithley in 31st. 11 laps down for Mason Maggio in 32nd. And 12 down for Taylor Gray in 33rd. 5 DNFs today with Raja Karuth finishing the highest of which in 34th. 35th for Austin Green, involved in 2 incidents early in Stage 1. Brad Perez 36th. Corey Day, lap 1 crash, finishes 37th after a win last week in Talladega. And then Dawson Cram rounds out the 38-car field. What a battle down the home stretch between Kyle Larson and Justin Allgaier. Larson, your victory here today in the Andy's Frozen Custard 340. 93 laps led for Larson, most in the race. Allgaier, who finished second, led for 54. Allgaier won stage number 1. Stage 2 was also won by Connor Zilich, who finishes 21st, a lap down. Remember, he had a flat tire after contact with the wall earlier in the final stage. So that's why he fell behind. 48 laps led for Zilich. 13 lane changes, 7 cautions, 2 hours, 25 minutes, and 21 seconds. Total time on this afternoon's race, 36 laps of yellow. Only 1 caution in Stage 3. We had 3 of them in Stage 1, 1 in Stage 2, and the 2 stage breaks for those 7 cautions. And we finish under the regulation length of 200 laps. 300 miles around the mile and a half at Texas Motor Speedway. Here's Dylan Welch with your race winner, Kyle Larson.
Catching me there on that long run after the green flag stop, and was just hoping I could kind of stretch away and like I did the run before to start stage 3. But yeah, I don't know. He was just really good behind me, and he could run a lot of different lanes back there too. I was trying to do what I could to take his airway while also maintaining a good corner for myself. But man, he was always closing on me. So thanks to him for racing me clean there. He could have easily got in the back of me. I could tell he was trying to pack some air to get me free. But yeah, that was a great little run to the end there. So thanks all the fans for coming out. Look forward to seeing every one of you at the dirt track here after this. We're going to head to Victory Lane, get some ice cream, and go see if we can get another one.
I want to ask real quick, too, about the restarts with you and Allgaier when you guys were kind of crowding each other and getting into each other. How much of that is mind games? How much of that is you just trying to position yourself to get into turn 1 where you want to?
Nothing about turn 1. It was just, I think he knew the top was dirty at that point, and was just running whoever was in the outside lane. He did it to me and Connor, and just kind of left us out in the marbles there. So I was just trying to give myself a lane. He was like 3 lanes up, but it is what it is. I think you got to take every advantage you can get, and that was what he felt was his advantage early. But yeah, I don't know. I just like to start the race.
Kyle Larson gets it done. He's the winner again in the 88. Kim?
And Justin Allgaier bests the day with a second place finish. I know it matches your best finish here. As you look at those closing laps, though, what was missing for you?
Track position, unfortunately. I'm just disappointed. Our rotor to Chevy was really good. Huge thank you to Andrew and all the guys on the 7 team. I mean, to bring us past the race cars we had today is special. And to do all the things we did, I felt like the short run for us was a little bit of a little bit of a struggle, I guess, all day. We were on the split a little too hard to fire off on those rounds, and really that was the difference maker at the end of the race. So I'm disappointed. Without contact, I don't know that there's any way to get around him, and I tried every lane I could possibly try, and just unfortunately came up short. So Junior Motorsports 1-2, obviously that's a big deal. Andrew getting his job, everybody Chevrolet, all of our.
Get the internet cutting out on me during Justin Allgaier's interview. I apologize for that.
Runners. I don't know. I'm gonna go back and watch this putting up a bunch and try to figure out what I could have done better. But all in all, just proud of our team for the effort. One of us had to win, right? I mean, we very could have easily wrecked there, and neither one of us won. So we both finished 1-2. It's a good point save for us again, and we'll move on to next week. So again, proud of our team, proud of the effort. Just a little short. So my Lightning play tomorrow night, so I'm gonna go to the game down in Tampa. So hopefully, maybe one of us wins the weekend.
I do want to address the restart, the contact with Kyle Larson. He described it. He said he was just trying to make a lane for himself. How do you view the contact between the two of you as teammates?
I'm disappointed because he's completely below the pace car, right? So, like, typically in the past, you kind of follow the pace car. That's just what I was doing. And, I mean, it's his right to go down there. It's my right to stay up there. And we made contact in the middle.
Good point save for Justin Allgaier. 54 points he walks away from with Texas.
Yeah, and he leads 54 laps, wins a stage, 121-point advantage halfway through the regular season.
Yeah, hard to believe it's halfway through the regular season already for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. A 26-race regular season, 13 races down, and Justin Allgaier with a 121-point lead. But today, your race winner, Kyle Larson, for the second year in a row in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race at Texas Motor Speedway. Today's Andy's Frozen Custard 340 race winner. We'll see you guys tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern with the NASCAR Cup race, the Worth 400 at Texas, beginning for us live on the channel then. For those of you that are going to be watching the Kentucky Derby in a little bit, have fun with that. Have a good rest of your Saturday night. Be safe, everybody, and I will see you back tomorrow afternoon for some NASCAR Cup Series action. Brett Cruz does get the Dash for Cash bonus, $100,000 with his top 5 run, finishing up well. Just one spot, I believe, ahead of Sheldon Creed behind him for that $100,000 Dash for Cash bonus. So congrats also to Brent Cruz there. Also, congratulations, Carson Hocevar on the pole for the second time in his Cup career, both at the Texas Spring Race 2 years in a row. This fresh off the heels, of course, of his win, which came last week at Talladega, and the Truck Series race last night also. Been a good racing weekend so far. Hope to see another one tomorrow with the Cup race, and I will see you guys for that. Thanks for watching, everybody. Catch you next time.